I'm a fighter, always have been. In the ring and in business. 30 years of battles, rising, falling, rebuilding. I've made money, I've lost money, but it wasn't until I created Zapata Systems was I able to really find my way out. But the toughest fight, it wasn't physical. It was watching money walk out the door week after week, whether to vendors charging too much or labor not justifying the revenue. That money stress, it doesn't always stay at work. It follows you home, turns into arguments, cold dinners, and broken peace. And then there's the IRS, back taxes, deadlines, pressure you can't punch your way out of. Zapata Systems shows you what you're really paying. It gives you control, leverage, and savings. This isn't about surviving. It's about winning. You're in a fight. Start acting like it. Zapata Systems. Fight smarter.
What's up, guys? I'm Joe Zapata with my boy Gregg Valentino. What's up, Greg?
Giuseppe, Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. How fuzzy was Fuzzy Wuzzy? Were you really fuzzy? Wuzzy? Wuzzy? Fuzzy?
Jimmy the Bull's coming. He's just getting some wine, getting ready. He'll be on his way. He'll be here in about 5 minutes. So Jimmy is coming. So guys, I hope you had a good Christmas, Greg.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I gotta tell you, one of the gifts Morella got me is one of these, these razors for your head where you.
Oh shit! Tell Morella. Yeah, I need that.
You need one of these bald, for the bald people.
No,
like
Morella. Fuck that. You get gifts every fucking time you go to eat over there.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, she makes banquet meals, and she makes all these guys don't know. She makes like fucking cookies that look like they got them from a bakery. If I didn't know that Morella, and she make them sugar free and shit, and they look like just like real Italian like pastries and cookies.
Yep.
And Joe gets that shit all the time. He's spoiled. Morella, don't spoil him so much. No, I'm kidding. Spoil him. He deserves. He's a good man.
03011 says, Jimmy, yes, Jimmy's coming, guys. He's coming.
Jimmy's coming.
He's grabbing his wine and stuff. He just texted me.
He's probably having a few little glasses so he feels good. Maybe start playing the piano like Liberace.
Yep. At 311 says, Dave's seething at this. LOL.
Nah, Dave's all right. Dave's good. It's no problem.
Yeah, at Mike M. So what's up, guys? Hope all you had a great Christmas. Yeah, it was good.
Thank you, Mike M. Thank you. Yeah,
Santa was good to you, Greg?
Yeah, you know the story. Santa was really good to me on Tuesday when I heard the Barbarian Brother come on.
Yes, that really cleared up.
I actually feel bad for him, that poor guy.
That cleared up the entire story.
Man,
Greg?
I feel bad, Joe.
Well, we'll talk about that too next week. At Anthony 8141 says, Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Quit parking handicap spots. Greg, how was your mother-in-law? She ruined Christmas. LOL.
No, she wasn't here. She was down in Jersey. They drink a protein drink.
Oh, she was in Jersey down by me?
Yeah, Lucia just got off. That was who she was.
No wonder we had a small earthquake the other day.
she tripped and fell. Yeah, she was down with Lucia's like sisters and brothers and family and shit.
Oh, okay, exactly. Our friend at son of Sammy Davis, what's going on?
There he is. What's going on
right now?
Brother.
Hope
Nick,
you two and your family are
big moves.
Yeah, I'm still enjoying leftovers right now. Hope you two are having families are staying safe. Yes.
Thank you, Nick.
Anthony says, you think the Barbarian Bro got to the point of the story yet?
I actually feel bad for him. I got to be honest with you. I was expecting, okay, here we go. I'm a liar, with all that shit and everything. And I actually felt bad because he couldn't get to the thing, and he needs help. I mean, he needs some little bit of intervention, I think. And I don't mean that sarcastically or being stupid. I'm saying, I feel I don't know if he's alone, if he has a girlfriend, but I'm just saying he needs help. Listen, I think they were,
I thought it was in Spanish. I was sitting there listening to him, like, what's going on? I'm like,
I felt bad, but I mean, like,
it's kind of crazy.
Even Dave said when Dave was asking me about the Alzado stuff and all that stuff, and when they're talking about fighting and all this other shit, and Peter said I'd never been in a fight in my life. And he said it on there. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, look, this whole thing is just blown out of proportion. It shouldn't even been brought up. I don't know how this started 3 weeks ago, but it's all buried now, and there's no problem. Me and Dave, Dave's coming to New York. We're all going to go out and shit like that. But there's no problem. But I feel bad for Peter. I'm going to be honest with you. I really do. His brother's dead and everything. And, all I keep getting is text messages from guys from the industry going, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? I told you a few people before here, but.
Yep. 0311 said that story was pathetic. Very hard to listen to.
I feel bad because, they weren't like that. You know what I mean? Like when I was there, and I never said like I was one of their boys. Like I hung out. I used to give them rides, but I was just a kid at gym. It started out with one time I was in the back. I think I was talking to Dean Tornabean at the time. And he said to Dean, one of them said to Dean, I need a ride. Do you have your car here? And Dean's like, bro, I'm working out now. You gotta wait. And then they asked me, do you have a ride? Do you have a car? Yes. Stop the workout. Quit, take me. I need a ride right now. And I did it like 5-6 times. I gave them rides. You know what I mean? But, you're talking about, I don't know. How come they didn't have a car? You know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever. But I was a kid in the gym. I wasn't one of them. Okay. I never said I was one of them. You know what I mean? They have a million stories. Victor Richards, million stories, million shooting guns in fucking the gym. Not the Barbarian, but the Victor Richards. And and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, a little thing like me putting spun, he don't remember those things, but I do because it was big to me because I was just a kid, in the gym.
Yep, exactly. All right, Jimmy will be on shortly, guys. He's coming on.
Jimmy's coming on.
He's coming on. All right, he's coming on. Ruben Sanchez, what's up, Jay-Z and
Ruben.
Greg? What's going on, Ruben? What's going on, man?
What's going on, Ruben?
Ruben said, I'm more confused than ever. Yeah, that story was really confusing.
I feel really bad. I'm just telling you, I'm not being funny. I really do. I feel bad for him. I was kind of like going like this, starting to think, but then I'm thinking, dude, don't be a dick. Meaning me. Because the guy has issues, obviously, and his brother passed away. And, like, this sounds, and I mean this not shady, okay, but this sounds kind of fucked up, but I almost felt like, you ever watch that movie Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte? She was once a movie star and she's sitting now in the dark watching old, like, movies of herself, like back in vaudeville and old days and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like thinking, I'm a star, but you're, now you're like, it's past. You understand? And they're still, he's still talking about, like, I'm waiting. I'm not going to show my face because I'm waiting for TV, like, to come to me and all, that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was waiting for him to actually show his face, and you see like his apartment.
I don't know why it didn't. I don't get that, but
you see like a messy apartment in the background. That'll be funny. Anthony says, it's bad when George joins in on clowning someone. Yeah, I guess so. Son of Sammy Davis says, everyone that is saying Dave made Greg look bad are crazy. If anything, Dave allowed Peter to expose himself and look terrible. I felt bad.
Yeah, I don't know. We should. Yeah, I mean, again, it's not, nothing bad on Dave, nothing bad. That's all settled, okay. But I actually do feel bad for Peter. I just, it's not, I don't know.
Yeah. Steve said the highlight of the interview was Larry sleeping.
That was,
yeah,
Larry. It was, we all knew this. Even John Romano was going back like this, and at one point was like, and then reading a Dr. Seuss book.
Well, because John's saying that he's like, yeah, your poster was on, your picture was on the wall. He's like, my picture's never on the wall. John's like, I trained there for 20 years. I saw your picture.
Yeah, it was on the wall. I think I saw it on the wall.
He's like, no, it wasn't. He's like, no, it's never been on the wall. He's like, it was there. I saw it.
Now remember, I was there in 81, all of 81, 82, and they had a rack called the Barbarian rack. It was right there, like a power rack, and it said Barbarians down the side, So it wasn't like Gold's Gym did them dirt. They were fucking like superstars at Gold's Gym. They were like the face of Gold's Gym for a while. You know what I mean? Remember, Arnold trained at Worlds. Didn't train. When I say I saw Arnold, I saw him in the morning. It was at Worlds, never Gold's, because Arnold said he will never step foot in Gold's Gym until Joe Gold passes away, because Joe Gold, was, that was his gym first, and then he sold, and then went around the world and tried to get it back, and he didn't. So he opened up World's Gym. Arnold was close to it. The one thing I got to tell you guys about Arnold is that he is pretty fucking loyal to his friends. I got to tell you that. He is. He was devastated over Colombo, but I know for a fact, because I was close with Leon Brown, and that was his boy, and Leon would call. I was in the diner, and Leon Brown called Arnold right there with his cell phone and started. I'm telling you, he's very close with him, and Arnold was upset when Leon passed away. So, but I'm just saying he was loyal, you know, and he is loyal to his friends. And he never went to Gold's until Joe Gold passed away.
Yep, at Ruben Sanchez. He's on the same trip as Ultimate Warrior. Yeah. At John Saldy. Hey, boys, Merry Christmas. What's up, John?
John Saldy, what's going on, brother? I hope you're feeling better.
All right. 0311 says, nah, you can't put him in the same category as Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior was great on his YouTube channel. Highly motivational. Yeah, he was. He was pretty good.
I think what he's trying to say is I never watched the Ultimate Warrior. I'm not a wrestling guy. My son was, but I wasn't. But I think the Ultimate Warrior at the end kind of got a little wacky, didn't he, Joe?
Yes, he did.
Get a little wacky. Is that maybe that's what he means? Maybe he means he got a little wacky. You know, like a lot of these guys do head drugs. I know the Ultimate Warrior. They a lot of head drugs too. So then they get a. I'm not saying that Peter did. I don't know what Peter did. I have no idea. You know what I mean? I have tell me things, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So we got here. Jimmy's coming on. He's actually just. I got a text right now. He's just finishing up something. He'll be on in a couple minutes. What we got here? They didn't have a car because Lyle took all their money. LOL.
No, I don't believe that. Lyle Ozado had a lot of money. I don't think he needed that. I don't think he needed that.
At Peter Palpin says, every time I check one of these shows, I'm always the subject of conversation. I must be doing something right. Pretty good for a crazy guy.
That a boy, Charlie Arms.
Very good there, Charlie.
And or Peter Palpin. What is with that, though, to Peter Palpin? Peter Palpin picked a pack of pickled peppers. Did Peter Palpin pick the pack? Anyway.
Yeah, I saw some credits. He had some credits where he had a different name, but I don't know. We'll see. John Salty said,
best. I do. I wish him the best, but I think he there's somebody he needs to talk with.
Yep. John Salty, I'll be listening. Got to plow snow. Yes, my father's house in a few. Yep, that's pretty.
Oh, okay. He's got a plow. He said.
Yeah, he's got to plow a little bit. John Mancini, Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope all is well. Merry Christmas,
John Mancini. What's going on?
Merry Christmas. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, man. I hate this weather, bro. And here in New York, it's snowing down there.
Yeah, it's snowing, man. It's snowing. How about you?
Yeah, of course.
It's supposed to get like 8 to 10 inches or something.
It's like 18 degrees. It's fucking snowing 8 to 10 inches.
Yeah, it's bad, man. It's
my girlfriend's gonna get that when I'm done with the show.
She's gonna get plowed.
And 8 to 10 inches.
Oh. Oh, really? It's gonna be cold too, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. At Richard says, "Hi guys, what's going on, Richard?"
What's on, Richard? What's going on, brother?
Mike M says Lee's reactions were gold.
Lee's funny. Lee kept fucking rhyming, and the guy again, poor Peter. He didn't catch on that Lee was like fucking around, because Lee will come out there. The sun is rising, the rising sun. How do you know when you're having fun?
Mm-hmm.
Lee was doing that to me. He called me up right after the show. He's like, "Holy shit."
Mm-hmm. At Mike M says Lee's reaction was gold, and then we got at Cromags 120 says hopefully Greg is not replaced by Peter on After Hours. I don't think that'll ever happen.
No, everything's good. There's no problem with me and Dave. That's all. None of that shit's happening. It's all good. We're good.
Yeah.
And I do feel bad for Peter. I do. I don't like to see it because he wasn't like that, And he didn't he say something about somebody else like having facial shit done on their face or was it a girl or a guy? I don't know. He's saying something towards the end. He said something. I was like, I wouldn't talk.
I was talking about for a while. I really didn't want to know what he was talking about for a while. Holly, hello everyone.
Hey Holly, what's going on?
I feel bad for the guy. Hopefully he gets the meds he needs.
I do. I feel bad for him. I think he needs help. So
yeah, I think so too.
I don't mean that in a shady way. I'm just saying, really.
John Soley said, "Hey, Greg, quick question. Didn't Arnold own the World's Gym in West Covina, California, in the late '90s?"
John, that I don't know what Arnold owns. A lot of things. He owned buildings, houses.
He owns. I think that's how he made most of his money.
Yeah, he's a real estate mogul in all kind, like in Colorado, all over the place. I don't know if he owned any of the gyms, but if he did, it would be a World's Gym because that would help Joe Gold out to spread the franchise like that. Because Joe Gold, dude, that World's Gym was small. It was probably the size of one of you guys that live in an apartment. It was like an apartment. It was small. I don't even know if it was 1,500 square feet. It was small. It was tiny. And then they had the balcony, but it was hardcore. And you know what I like? They didn't play any music in there. No music.
They didn't? They played no music?
Nope. You had to wear, if you want to hear music, I wear headphones. I like that. I'm nuts like that. You know me, but
Yeah. All right. Holly said, yeah, I felt bad for him, especially when he said his family didn't have anything to do with him.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's not good. That's not good. You got to feel bad for the guy. I do. And you know what's funny? None of us here are twins, unless some of you guys, and I don't know if anybody here has a twin, but when you lose a twin, especially somebody who was, you guys were identical twins, you both made it big in the media, you got to give him credit. He did. He was in DC Cab, he was in a bunch of things. You have to give him credit. So, when you guys were both like that, and then all of a sudden now you're missing that, your other half, it's pretty tough. So you gotta give him a little bit of a heart there. You got to feel a little bit bad. But somebody should step in. If family loves you, instead of fucking cutting you out, you got to step up and like intervene. You know what I mean? Because there's something going on there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. What do you think about that Jake Paul fight, by the way?
Horrible. I mean, I like Jake Paul, but I knew he wasn't going to win. But that was like,
we called it. We said, Joshua should win easily, but you never know anything. But he gave him a beating.
But see, he fought some tough guys, you know what I mean? Like Tyrone Woodley and all this. But the thing is, those guys were not, even though they hit hard for MMA, they were not boxers. He was much bigger. You know what I'm saying? And this time he fought a guy who was bigger than him, and just showed. I mean, he was knocked out. His jaw's broken so bad. And now you got fucking pieces on both sides, like metal sheets.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to fight after that. You get hit in the jaw again.
I was talking to Teddy Atlas. We was talking to Teddy Atlas about the fight, and Teddy was like, because a lot of people were complaining, saying, "Oh, Joshua didn't knock him out in the first round or second round. He should have beat him real early." But Teddy said, and this is true. You think about it. Joshua's last fight, he got knocked out, and that effect in those first rounds when you get back into the ring and fight, you're gonna be a little bit weary,
cautious,
very cautious,
right?
And you're gonna before it starts to kick in again because you're remembering your. Sort of like that memory of that bad memory in your head has got to clear out of your body, and you just got to be loose. And he says that's going to be there. So that's
exactly what I think. I think he was very cool. He could have knocked him, but what? There's guys who Tyson fought that he didn't knock out in the first round. It took him 6 rounds to knock him out. Sometimes you got to feel guys out. Sometimes guys are staying away from you. He kept going low and trying to do the football tackle and shit. It wasn't like Jake Paul just ran right into him and started fucking banging. He was doing the whole fucking drop down and then try to throw the overhand fucking, the haymaker and shit, Yeah,
I mean, he ran a lot. He ran.
But ironically, at the same time, Andrew Tate fucking got beat up too.
Andrew Tate,
he got beat up. I mean, that was. I give Andrew Tate credit. First of all, that Andrew Tate's a kickboxer, and that was like a straight up boxing. I don't think they didn't kick at all. I didn't see them kick. I didn't see any kicks. So and I like Andrew Tate, but he humbled him. Andrew Tate said, "Look, there's no excuses. I wasn't injured. He just beat my fucking ass." You know what I mean?
You know what? Watching that fight, I gotta say, with Andrew Tate, I watched that fight. I don't think and George, my brother George is like, he does not have the skills that he says he does. He was very exposed. You could see a lot of these tough guys like Wes Watson and all those, all those guys. This other guy, King Azuli, whatever the fuck his name is. All these guys.
Wes Watson, he's not no fighter. That guy's fucking full of shit.
He says he is.
I'm a shot caller. Hey, how you doing, Wes? How you doing? Hey, I was in prison. I did 20 years. Oh, Jesus. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's how he introduced himself.
And everyone's trying to do the Jake Paul thing now to get into a fight with anyone to get in the ring, make money because the 92 million.
You got to give Jake Paul. Listen, guys, did you ever see what Jake Paul looked like? He's on juice now, obviously. I mean, he's got to be 50 pounds. Did you ever see what he looked like? He looked like a happy Larry, like, you know what I'm saying? Like before all this fighting shit, and, he wasn't like this like wicked fighter or any of that kind of stuff. These guys have all been fighting since they were kids. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Joshua. All them guys are like, my mother took me to boxing classes when I was 6, that kind of shit.
Yeah. Funny question here by Anthony here. He says, Dave said Peter couldn't lie, which is technically true because he couldn't finish a thought.
Listen, Peter, sometimes what you say and what you, like maybe hallucinating. I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad for the guy. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm telling you, he's like that girl from Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. I looked at his Instagram. Now I shouldn't talk. I don't do a lot on Instagram. But I got 20-something thousand followers. I got my girlfriend to it. But he's got 800 people. And he just doesn't even, like, he's not putting himself out there. So, first, if you took the Trent twins, right, and you took the one twin, what makes them the Trent twins is because they're twins. You take away the Hodge twins, you take one of them away, they bounce off each other, they feed off each other, their energy comes in as one, so to speak, but from two to one. You watch the Hodge twins, the one will sit there and be like saying shit, and the other's like, man, what you talking about? Your breath stink. Shut up. And then they laugh, you know what I mean? They'll sit there and they'll see trainers on. He'd be like, that's a good looking man. I think I would, if nobody ran, I think they say crazy shit and they bounce off each other. You take one away. Imagine the one Hodge twin just sitting there talking.
Yep. Jimmy the Bull coming in. Jimmy the Bull will be coming in any minute.
Yeah, so it's not the same, okay? And it was the same thing if you had the Trent twins. They feed. You take away, now that he's missing, a key part. And I just think that, you're waiting for the phone to ring because the TV show is going to call and shit. But, you're going to be 70 soon. It's like, you got to get yourself out there. Stop. I don't know where you're hiding your face. I'm not going to show my face till I'm on TV again or something like that. Well,
yep.
I just don't understand it.
Mike M said Joshua hopefully shut him up for a while. Mike, from your lips to God's ears.
Mike, listen, there's no way you can't fight again. And if you do, it's got to be. How are you going to fight with two plates right here? Somebody hit your jaw, even just a crack on that jaw. You're going to break those plates, and then he's going to have a real heavy duty surgery. Where I know a guy who got fucking in a fight, got hit in a jaw broken. 7 months he couldn't eat food. For 7 months, his jaw was wired shut like this.
Yeah.
Jake Paul got lucky. 7 days. You can't. You get hit again. Now it's broken. He's still fighting with a broken jaw with plates. It can't happen. I think he's done.
I see. George told me that he could fight again with that chin, with that, and even Teddy said he could. But Teddy said he's going to always be
mindful of getting hit there.
Correct. When he gets hit, he might even go down because he's going to get out of his draw.
Oh, listen! If you get somebody to hit him with a good shot there, that thing's going to break easily. It's not. You know what I mean? You got to. It's already broken. It's still a broken jaw. It's just being held together by two fucking little metal plates, and it's not going to take much.
No, he ran that whole fight though. He was running from him.
Dude, he couldn't even stand it. For one point, I thought he was going to give him a blowjob. He was on his knees the whole time, hugging him like this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. The whole time. Yep, exactly. It was kind of crazy. What you said. Jake has 311 says Jake has some nads to step on against him. LOL.
I give Jake Paul all the credit. Well, I actually like Jake Paul. I'm not against him. I like Jake Paul, so I'm not against the guy. I like him a lot. You know what I mean? I think he's a great showman. I think what he did for boxing, what he did for all this stuff. Guy was a YouTuber. You know what I mean? His mother didn't take him to boxing classes for when he was 5 years old, like all these other people.
We got a guest.
Here he is.
There he is.
Hold on, I gotta get my headset.
I'm gonna kick you off after 2 seconds and say you're on the show.
All right, let him go. Get him off. Wait. What did he say? Shush.
How about now?
Good.
Shush.
Good.
Oh yeah. You gotta start it. You gotta bring that up. You gotta start it again, right? Get my blood pressure up immediately. Yeah. I called him up. I called Dave up.
Yeah, me too. We talked. Everything's good.
Yeah. No, talk about the shush thing.
Oh yeah. I'm sure everything's good with you guys, right?
Yeah. No, I called him up and I said, he goes, what happened? I said, you shushed me. I didn't shush you. I said, no, you shushed me, man. I said, I had one of my fans actually send me that clip. When I came on, you shushed me. No, I didn't shush you. I said, I forgot it. You didn't shush me. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to get into it with him. But
it's all good.
Yeah. How's the holidays, Jimmy? You get everything good from Canada?
He did shush me though.
Yeah, he did. So how's the holidays? Good?
Yeah, I really didn't do much, man. I was just sorry I'm late because I was out there salting the driveway, and I had to shovel a little bit. And I got to go back out after this, and I got to shovel some more. So I'm having a few glasses of wine. I'm gonna try to get a little numb before I go out there, and because my back is already killing me, Greg.
I should lend you Lucia. She's out there. She's Mexican. She likes to shovel, blow the leaves, rake the grass.
She shovel out there.
She goes out there, so she likes this fucking nasty shit out there.
Does she? Yeah.
Yeah, she likes that shit. She shovels. I tell her that's great. Everybody thinks I'm fucking fucked up. Look at the fucking big muscle guy over there. He's got his girlfriend outside fucking shoveling and shit. You know what I mean?
Hey, well, how old is Lucia?
She's 39.
Oh, there you go.
She's good. Jimmy, you got to tell Greg the story about your truck the other day. What happened?
Oh, the tire floor. Yeah. So anyway, we were cruising. It was pouring rain. It was a Friday. I mean, it was pouring. You couldn't see like a quarter mile in front of you. That's how it was, a whiteout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we stopped at a store to try to get a coffee. We got soaking wet. Got back in the truck. I had my buddy behind me, and when I got back in the truck, I did smell something. You know what I mean? But I thought it was like a nearby bakery or something cooking. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize when I took off, because it was raining so hard, my two trailer tires, the brake locked up, and it was dragging the tires down the street.
Fuck.
I didn't know, Greg, because normally on a dry day, I would look out my mirror and I would see smoke coming out of the back of the truck.
Right.
I'm dragging the tires, right? So I had no idea, man. I think I drove. We were upstate. I came down 95. We got to the Clearview. I was still dragging the tires, and then so then we were on the Clearview. So my buddy Chris saw the tire. It was sideways like this out of the trailer, right?
Holy shit.
So I said, shit. So I pulled over, and there's a box on the side of the truck. I was able to hit the switch, and the tires went up. I wanted to get them off the ground because they were dragging. So I said, okay, they're good now. I got them up in the air. I'm good. So we took down the Clearview. We get to the end of the Clearview by 73rd. We're going to hang at UE because sometimes the entrance to the LIE is very crowded. So we'll go to the next exit. We swing around. I cut off this ShopRite trailer, right, to get around to cut them off. My tire flies off, Greg.
No.
And it goes flying through I see it in my mirror. It just rolled off the truck, and it was rolling through the grass, and it went into the park, and it hit a tree, and it fell down like that, right? So I was like, all right, thank God it didn't hit nobody, kill anybody.
Yeah, really, yeah.
So I didn't know it was going to come off.
Mm-hmm.
So I get up on the expressway, I get over the middle lane, and here comes the King Kong guy, or the ShopRite, whatever trailer he had, you know?
King Kong.
And yeah, he pulls over next to me. He goes, yo, your tire came off, man. I says, yeah, I know. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. He goes, yeah, they went flying in the park. I said, yeah, I know. Thank you, bro. He was laughing hysterical, right? So I don't know. I thought it was funny. But.
That's funny. You know, people don't realize that you drive that fucking truck from Long Island in one day. You go way the fuck upstate. How far do you go, Jimmy?
So, we average like 450 miles a day, something like that. We
go like imagine that?
2.5 hours up. We go. I was in Monticello the other day.
Dude, but that's from Long Island. These guys who live in Cornstalk, USA, have no idea. That's fucking far. First of all, get on the LIE. It could take you 2 hours to go one exit, right, Jimmy?
On the way back, yeah. I'm on the road at 1:30 in the morning. So.
Oh yeah. See, that's good. But when that LIE, when people are awake, that fucking thing is traffic for no reason. I mean, so
the other day we were going over to GW, and it was like just mad traffic. This is like 2 a.m, and we're like, "What the hell is?" So we were trying to get off. It was like just jammed, So luckily it was an accident. Luckily we were like, it must have just happened, because thank God we were right there. We didn't have to wait hours, in the traffic. So we pull up there, and it was a freaking tractor trailer. Those big yellow cans when they get off the exit?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he hit that head on, man. He went all over those cans, man. And the tractor separated from the trailer. The trailer went up the exit, and the tractor stayed on the Cross Bronx, right? And it was fuel all over the place. The truck was destroyed, man. I hope the guy didn't get hurt, but he must have fell asleep or something, And
they're filled with sand, those things, aren't they? Aren't they filled with sand?
Sand or water? I don't know what the hell is inside them.
Holy
things,
Christ! Yeah, that's good.
It destroyed whatever's in there. Destroyed his truck, man.
Yeah, I think it's sand. That's like hitting concrete. That's like solid. Solid concrete, man.
I couldn't believe what the guy's truck looked like. It was like I was driving by looking at it, saying, "Holy shit!" It was just wrecked. and his freaking trailer disconnected and went up the exit ramp a little bit, so his truck split. You know, the trailer went that way, the tractor went that way.
Wow.
Yeah,
Maybe he's like one of them guys that Fox News talks about, the undocumented fucking drivers that drive in a truck. It's their ID, their driver's license says no name given. Imagine that. They were just
Yeah,
talking.
you got to be careful, man. You know, even me when I'm on the road with these guys, the people. I don't know, man. It's getting worse out there. I'll be honest with you, Greg. It's like a war.
Do you guys ever have tractor trailer wars where you guys like like fucking going, like almost going after each other and shit?
So we have a lot of times we have like if a trailer's in the middle lane and we're on the cross, a lot of shit goes on in the cross Bronx, right? Expressway, believe it or not. So
There's Lee.
So we'll be coming down the middle lane, and this guy's going slow, so I get in the left and I'm trying to pass him, and naturally when you're passing him, he speeds up. He doesn't want you to pass him.
Right.
Now we're going neck and neck, doing 70. I'm trying to pass this son of a bitch. And then I got cars behind me. You're stuck there, and I'm cursing the guy out in the window. You son of a! I'm giving him the finger back because he's doing it deliberately. He don't want me to pass him.
Right.
But
the trailer's going like this. Why you doing that shit?
Well, that's the other thing too, man. The Cross Bronx Expressway, the lanes are very, very narrow. I mean, you got between the guardrail and the truck next to you, you probably got maybe 8 inches or so. You don't have a lot of room, man. So if the guy starts to come over, you gotta hold your course. You either got to hit him or you got to go against the guardrail. And there's a lot of bridges and shit on that road. So when you go flying through under those bridges, it's scary, bro. It really is scary.
I saw you one time. I was on the phone with you and you showed me like you were backing up into like some cement place or something like that. I don't know what the hell it was, or a tractor, someplace, and you backed up. It was like a fucking space like this big, but and he backed up. I mean, you drive that thing like you can go through the eye of a needle or something, right?
Well, I mean, you do get used to it after a while, but it's still, I tell you the truth, even after all these years, I still struggle, man. A lot of places backing in and stuff. It's so tight sometimes. It's ridiculous,
I can never do that. I can never do that. It's tough, man. Backing that up, that truck like that.
When I used to deliver flour, believe it or not, this guy, I got this job years ago, and it was delivering flour. Right. So a friend of mine, Big Dog, who he passed away too, his friend said, yeah, because I was out of work at that time. He's like, yeah. He goes, why don't you work with my friend Joe? He's, he delivers flour to the bakeries. I'm like, fucking flour, man. I'm picturing myself throwing the 50-pound bags over my shoulder, running into the bakery. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, man. He goes, yeah, just call him. They deliver it with the truck. I said, yeah, of course. I'm gonna live with my car. So, anyways, I called the guy up, and it was a pneumatic trailer. I had no idea. So, he taught me. I had to run with him a couple of weeks. He had to teach me how to pump the flour into the silos in these bakeries.
Oh shit.
Yeah, thousands of pounds.
You had to do all that like that?
Yeah, it's done. I'll send you some videos.
Oh
later.
shit.
Yeah, you got to pump the flour with a just blower.
Oh, so it's like oh my god! So it's like a tank with flour in it, not like bags of flour.
Right. So you see them on the road. These tractor trailers, they're long, they're aluminum, and they have like 3 hoppers on them. They're the guys that deliver concrete powder or flour. Yeah, so I was delivering flour, doing that for a while, middle of the winter. One night, Greg, I was killing I killed myself my whole life, man. You know what I mean? So one night it was like snowing and shit, right? It was like 2 in the, and you got to back down these trailers down this place called Brookhaven Rail Yard, right? It's out east on the expressway. So I had to pick up the truck, go to the rail yard. You got to back in. The trains are on the tracks, right? So you got like 1 train, 2 trains, then you got space in between the trains. You got to back the trailer between the trains. Sometimes it goes on a curve for like thousands of feet, right? And you're doing this in the middle of the night. I was doing it in a snowstorm. I couldn't see shit, so I put the flashes on. So this was going on in the back of my trailer, so I could kind of see as I'm backing up. So I get back there. I'll send you some videos later on. You can check it out. So one night I was killing myself. I working hours, dragging this hose, hooking it up to silos, the powder getting stuck. I had to blow out the train. It was like a freaking nightmare. So one night I was under the train because you gotta pump air into the train. Trains, right? And then you got to open up the valves and the powder comes out into your trailer. it's all done with air, right?
Like suction and shit, right? Like
Yeah.
suction.
Air. You fill up the train with air, you build up the pressure in the train, and then you throw the nozzle, and then your pipe goes into the trailer and pumps the flour into the trailer, and you got to vent it. It's the weirdest thing. That I had like a 6-inch PVC pipe. I got to put it on the back of the truck. It's like a vent, and I'm watching the powder. It's like it's snowing on you. Shit, no, you're not even supposed to breathe that shit in. And the shit's going in the air, and I see lightning in it. There was a freaking lightning storm in the cloud. Right, I'm sitting there going, "That's weird, man. It's like lightning and sparks and shit." Right? I said, "Is that normal?" You know what I mean?
It's gonna turn it into a cake.
I look like a volcano eruption, you know. So anyway, I'll never forget it. One night, I was just the point of the story I'm getting to. I was killing myself. It was a blizzard. I hook up the pipe. I turn the air on from the truck to pump it into the train, and I get under the train. You got to crawl under the train to get to the valves, right? So I'm underneath the train. It's freezing. Nobody's around, right? And I'm getting ready to pull the handle because I'm watching the gauge. And Greg, I just started crying, bro. I just started to cry, right? I'm like, look at me, man. I'm you know, I'm in my 50s. This is a long time ago, you know.
Right.
Or maybe my early 60s. Oh, probably in my 50s. Yeah, my 50s.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm under this train in the middle of the night. There's a snowstorm. I'm fucking pumping flour into my. I said, I just broke down crying, man. You know, and I all by myself under the train. You know, it was like
That's fucked up, though. That's
yeah.
man,
I was feeling sorry for myself because I worked so fucking hard, you know what I mean? And
plus, all you accomplished, you're doing movies and TV shit, and we all did stuff back. You and I in the '90s and in early 2000s. You would
think too. So that's probably what was going through my mind.
Right, like how the fuck am I stuck here? I should be on.
Yeah, I was. I was like, well, let me get this saying myself. All the shit I've done in my life, man.
Me and Morella actually just watched 2 days ago. Among Thieves? Was it Honor Amongst Men with Chuck Zito?
Yeah.
And with Jimmy in it. We just watched it, and the best part of the movie was unfortunately watching Jimmy get shot in the head. It was great. It was great. You know, not the greatest movie though.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm talking about. You know, like when you do stuff like that, you know, you do some TV shit and all this other shit, and then you look at yourself, you're like, dude, how the fuck am I here? You know what I mean? Like, if you would have told me back, like, when I was even 40 or 30s, I would have been like, yeah, dude, by the time I'm 65, I'll be like fucking, you know, have my own fucking TV show and shit.
I don't know where Greg, I don't know where I was going to be.
But you didn't think you'd be fucking like, you know, underneath some fucking train. Like, I got to make sure the flour gets in the hole. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
in a snowstorm at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm here at 2 in the morning. I should be on a fucking, you know, I should be on a fucking movie set somewhere, you know, like sipping wine with some chicks and shit. You know what I mean?
Greg, I probably did about 5 films at least, right? That I could remember. Probably 5, except for the porno movie. No, I forget about it. So yeah, I did. Yeah, so I did like 5 legitimate, you know, films, right? I did Batman Forever, right?
Right.
Yep.
With Val Kilmer, and then
Charlie Mantle.
Charlie Mantle, I did, and then I did the Night Never Sleeps. That was Fred Carpenter too, and did Cage Fury with Richie Barretti, Eric Estrada, and then the one recently with Chuck, yeah, doing Honor Amongst Men. That's a lot of film work, man. And I did a couple of commercials. I did Tire Kingdom. I got that commercial, right? That was a cool commercial. That was all over the place. And then I did one more commercial. I forget what the hell it was, but I did 2 commercials one time. And like I got both of them in 1 week.
Yep.
But anyway, I mean,
here, man. A lot of shit you say to yourself. Why am I fucking here? You know what I mean?
I was even on a Spanish commercial. Channel 55 is a Spanish station. All right, I got bit by a mosquito. I was shoveling, and a mosquito bit me, and it was this stuff called Pika Pika. I don't know what the fuck it was. And you put it on, you know what I mean?
Pika Pika.
Yeah, some shit like that. Pika Puka, Pika Chica, whatever. So one day I'll never forget. I was in one of the Spanish bodegas getting, you know, food and stuff, you know, and the Spanish guy goes to me, "Oh, Pika Pika." I says, "Yeah, Pika Pika."
Pika Pika.
He recognized me from the commercial, right? I'm like, "Oh my
That's
God."
funny. Holy shit.
Well, 2026 is going to be a better year, Jimmy. We have some things set for this year with you, so it's going to be coming. If you want to, you know, mention it, we're going to be doing something big.
That's good. So wait, I got a question though. What is this guy? This thing's been up for a while.
This guy has a question here. He says, Jimmy, do you prefer the old school? The dude says, Jimmy, do you prefer the old school gyms where they use the steel plates or the new gyms with the plastic rubber weights? You guys, what do you prefer?
Well, I definitely liked the old school type of gyms. I do like the metal plates. I'll be honest with you. A couple of gyms, like just one gym I go to, a friend of mine, very good friend of mine. I went in there one day,
Mm-hmm.
and he changed the plastic.
Mm.
And I was like, Joe, what happened? Where's all the metal plates, man? He's like, I got a good deal on this stuff. I said, a good deal. I said, what was wrong with the metal plates, man? You know what I mean? But I don't know. He switched over to plastic, and I mean, whatever. I mean,
The only thing
I like the metal,
the rubber. I think he's talking about the rubber plates. The only good thing is today they got handles where you can grab it. You know what I mean? It makes it easier to take them off. Like, the whole.
Some of the metal plates have those too, Greg.
Do they really have them? Yeah. I still have I have the York here in my house. I got York barbell, the old fucking.
Well, that's got the edge. That's got the edge on it.
You're right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You grip it like this and shit.
Yeah.
I got the Ferrigno bumper plates here too. There was no hole in there. You still got to grip that. You can't even fucking if you. Grip
I had
it
Ferrigno weights too when I was a young kid. Yeah.
Did you have the bumper? I got them from Matt Ferrigno. And I used to go down there all the time. Lou's cut. Matter of fact, when Lou and I had the problem, it was because his brother Andy got a hold of me. Because I used to deal with Andy and his father and Matt. Lou had a cousin. I can't remember the name of him. In McDonald Avenue over there in Brooklyn. We used to go downstairs.
They were out of Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I still got all Jimmy. I got all shit here at the house. I'll show you next time you come over. I got a lot of that.
I don't know if they were from. I think they were from Bensonhurst. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think Bensonhurst. You're right.
Yeah. He was from Benson, but he had that on McDonald Avenue. He had that.
That's where my father's house. The Avenue U and McDonald Avenue.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what Joe was asking me the other day. If my family had a restaurant, that kitchen scene was in the back of my cousin's bar. He's got a full kitchen in the back.
Oh,
my cousin Cara was cooking pasta and she was yelling. They were fighting back there and shit. And I was filming it and stuff. So yeah, it was a bar restaurant. That's what it was. Basically, it was a bar with a kitchen.
Avenue U, I think, is where R&J Studio too was, where Louis used to train. But McDonald Avenue, Ferrigno had a gym.
Didn't John Rowley own that studio? No, I was in Canarsie.
No,
John Rowley. Remember John Rowley?
Yes, it was Jules Levine and R&J. Might have been John
Rowley. I think that
it
was
might have been. Yeah, it might have been.
I did a seminar over there in that gym.
Yeah, the R&J Studio, Jules Levine, and maybe that's John. I can't remember his last name.
Yeah, they invited me to a seminar. I never forget it, man. I have a picture somewhere. I went in that gym. There was no air conditioning. It was the middle of August. It was in Brooklyn.
And
I was doing a seminar, like I don't know how many, like 80 people, 100 people crowded around the bench. I couldn't even breathe, bro. I was dying. There was no air in there, But I did the seminar. It was like it was tough because there was no air in there. It was middle of summer,
Wow.
But I became very good friends with John. I still speak. I just wished him Merry Christmas. I still talk to him. He's in North Carolina now.
That's going back, man. That's some time ago.
Guy, listen, when I was living with my wife before I got married, I was always jumping from job to job, man. I was like one of these guys. I just never stayed on the job long, And he goes, Jimmy, you want to be a doorman in the city? He goes, it's union, big money. He goes, I'm gonna get you this job, and you're gonna wait on the superintendent who's out sick, but he might not come back. And if you don't come back, he goes, I could slip you into the superintendent job. And that job paid about $150,000 a year.
Nice.
And you get a free apartment on the ground floor.
Wow.
You're the superintendent of the building, and it's union, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's cool, So I got the job. I was working the desk at night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I can't tell you how many women that lived in that apartment that came home 2 a.m, bomb drunk, wobbling into the lobby, coming up to this. Hi, JB. I says, yeah, how you doing? Do I have any mail? I says, yeah, let me check. I want to look on. What are you doing? I says, I'm working. Somebody of those women tried to hit on me in that it was an apartment building.
You know who used to do that? I used to go see all the time. Victor Martinez. That's what he used to do when I first started hanging out with Victor. He like in the early 1990 and shit. He worked for a big apartment complex, all rich people.
Yeah, you get good money tips, right?
It was in that movie. The one with the Trump and the kid. What the hell's his name? Macaulay Culkin. I think that apartment or something. I think that apartment building or whatever it was.
Home Alone.
Yeah. Victor used to work there. Victor was the door, like Jimmy. Like he worked at that. He sit there at the desk at night, nothing to do. You know what I mean? The people come in.
It was a bullshit job, man. It really was. I mean, I opened up, I hit the button, let them in, and then they asked me for mail. Sometimes they would hang out, they would bullshit with me. I think I was there mostly on a weekend. It was a part-time gig, but
I used to go see Victor. You know what the difference is, Jimmy, though, today? These guys got fucking cell phones, iPads. You could sit there on a job like that and watch a movie.
Oh, I didn't do nothing, bro. Just
right, you sit there like this and watch a fucking stare at the fucking brick wall, right?
Yeah. Eventually, the guy came back, the son of a bitch. So I never got the superintendent job. You know what I mean? So John called me up. He goes, "Oh, bro," he goes, "the guy came back." I said, "Shit." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm sorry." He goes,
Jimmy, I remember you used to do floors. You were doing like floors for a while.
I did that. I did floors since the 70s, man.
What? Didn't you have your own business doing that, or did you work?
Yeah. No, I did. Well, when I was a kid, before I went in the Marine Corps, I was working for this guy, Tom Viola, and he had the floor sanding business. And I was very young, probably 15, something like that. Yeah, 14, 15. It was right after my father died a couple of years later. So I started refinishing floors for this guy. That's how I started, And then I finally joined the Marine Corps. I got out of there, but then when I came out, eventually I got my own equipment. I started doing my floors myself.
Yeah, because I remember.
Then I bounced on the week. I did so much shit, Greg. I can't even tell you, bro.
But why did you do did you what made you go?
I sold all my shit because my daughters were in college.
Right.
I had to pay child support. Plus 2 colleges.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
And then all my bills, my
right.
It's like my house, all the utilities, that shit adds up, man. Yep. So I was getting squeezed, eventually. So I was doing floors too, but eventually I had to, you get slow with the floors too. It's seasonal sometimes, like people don't want you in the house until the winter.
Yes.
So I just said, freak it, man. I sold the van, I sold all the tools. And now I sold to a friend of mine. So now what happens is if I get a job, because I still get jobs come in, I just call him up and he does it and I take a little piece.
That's good.
The job. Yeah.
Venom 123 has a question here. He said, Jimmy, has your ex-wife ever watched your ranting videos on RX? If so, did she ever say anything about it or screaming about her? She's very strange, man. Not really. Her husband said something to me once, I bumped into him in the gym, and he said something to me, and I was like, "Well, it's the truth, man." What I said, I'm ranting about it, I'm making a story out of it, but in reality, it's what happened. I was just telling somebody the other day that one of my ex-wife's boyfriends, because after I left her, she dated a bunch of guys, right? She used to move them in. They used to work on the house, paint, this, that, right? And then she'd throw them the fuck out, right? She's like the Black Widow. Anyway, one day, this one particular guy, he was a nice guy. I never forget it. But when I used to pick up the kids, I used to pull up in the driveway, and he was out there on the ladder painting the house or whatever the hell he was doing, And I used to go, "Wait, brother." I used to yell out the window, "Wait, right?" He looked at me. He didn't say nothing, And then the kids got in the car and they left, right? But later on, he told me what happened was, he goes, he used to run in the house and say, "What did he mean? What did he mean? Wait." And she used to go, "Oh, don't listen to him. He's crazy." He doesn't know what he's talking about, right? So anyway, I'll never forget it. I was with my ex-girlfriend in my house, and I hear a knock on the door. It's Christmas Eve, bro. I hear a knock, right? I said, "Who the fuck is that, man?" It was like 10, 11 at night. I opened the door. It's him, right? And he's standing there crying, bro.
No.
And I'm like, this is like after he was with us for like a year and a half. And I says, his name was Rob. I said, "Rob, what happened?" He's crying. "She threw me out. My grandfather just died. I got nowhere to go." I says, "Come in, man. Come in. Sit down. Come here, get you a glass of water." I had to calm him down. He was in my house for like a couple of hours, just hysterical and shit. I had to like talk to him, And then he left. He goes, I go, "Where are you gonna go?" I said, "You can't stay here." He goes, "No." He goes, "I'm gonna get a hotel for tonight." I says, "All right." It was like fucking 1 a.m. She whatever, man.
Oh yeah, man.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Ex-wives, baby. The woman scorned. Forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know really like reality. I don't hate the woman. even after everything she's done to me, because
Me too.
To me, hate is a very strong word. I don't hate anybody, no matter what you do to me, you know what I mean? But she just, it was a very long time to separate from her. She didn't want to divorce me for a long time. Then
But
finally, I wanted to sign the papers, and because I wanted to get divorced, but she didn't want to, so it dragged out for like over a year or two, and then she finally agreed, so.
But it's the mother of your kids, It's like for me, same shit, Yeah, I get along with her now, but for the longest time we didn't. You know what I mean? But it's.
Well, my one daughter just graduated nursing school last year.
Oh wow!
And I drove down there and I attended it, and then I took everybody out to lunch. It was my ex-wife, my ex-girlfriend, and it was just a whole, like I don't know, it's 10 people at the table, whatever. I paid for the lunch and stuff. I'm not gonna hold any regrets on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
that's the way I am. She did a lot to me. Trust me. You know what I mean? But you can't. I don't hold any grudges. I actually push my daughter, my son, to make sure you talk to your mother. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna hold a grudge? You're gonna hate
somebody? No, you can't.
Or...
But plus, it's your kid's mother, and that no matter what you do, they're always gonna be in your life in some sort of way. Those are your kids. That's their mother. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you have grandkids one day, and your little grandkid, little Jimmy's gonna have his first birthday party. She's gonna go, and you're gonna go. If you hate each other, or you can't be in the same room, it's not gonna work out. You have no choice.
It's not good, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Blue Ring of Fire has a question here. He says, I gotta say, Jimmy, I met you in 04, and your biceps looked unreal. Even the pros competing didn't have the peak you had in your biceps back then in the day.
Jimmy was jacked.
Thank you.
Jimmy was fucking jacked all over.
I gotta say something. I gotta mention something about Lee right now. So, I was on the phone with him today, like I don't know, like last night. It was last night, like an hour or whatever. Anyway, so. He was doing a video or like an interview type thing, and he said something, and I said this for years, right? But it resonated with me what he said. He said that like Victor Richards and that new young kid, he's trains in the gym. He's young.
Oh, Sam Salik?
Yeah, he's got the curly hair, and he's
Sam Salik, and
he's got like 10 million followers. And
Sam Salik,
whatever he's doing, he don't compete, right?
No, he does.
He does. He's just started and he won.
Yeah.
I've met him. I've met him.
How about Victor Richards? He never competed, right? Victor Richards?
No, he competed. He won his pro card, but I think he didn't. I think he did it like he was like Mr. Nigeria or something like that. So that gave him a pro card. Like a lot of guys, they stopped that shit. They don't allow you to do that now. You have to come up through the NPC. You know what I mean? Like you can't just go to another country. Let's say your grandparents are from Italy, and you go to Italy and you win a show, and then you come over here and say, "Oh, Mr. Italy, now I qualify."
Is that like when they used to win? Like they used to go in Europe win Mr. Universe,
yup,
and all that shit. And
they don't allow that. Yup, they don't recognize.
They don't recognize it when you come back to the U.S., right?
Right, they don't recognize.
Well, anyway, whatever Lee said, whoever Lee was talking about, I think he was talking about that kid too. But this is maybe it's an old video before he competed. So Lee was saying, a lot of these guys make money just being a gym body, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't compete, right? And they're very popular, and they just train. They look fantastic, and they just post videos, and they got millions of followers and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I that's what I did, but I didn't compete. But when I did my benching and all my curls and all that shit, people used to go, "Yo, why don't you go in a competition, man? You'd probably be like, number one in the world, And I used to say, nah. I said, this is what I do. This is my thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I? I'll do an assisted bench with 800 for 3 reps. You spotted me, Greg.
Yeah, so I spotted him 600 fucking pounds reverse like this. 3 reps he did.
Right.
3,
so
on stage. By myself, I spotted him
at Bob Bonner's, right? That was
at the Women's Extravaganza.
Right. The Women's
Extravaganza. You and I were on stage. We were on stage together. I told Jimmy, please God. Because I can't deadlift that shit, but there was nobody else. Usually you have a guy on each side. How am I supposed to get? And he said, "Don't worry about it. I got it." And I was like, "Okay, thank you."
It's very hard to spot somebody if you get behind a bench. And I'm going to get back to the point I was just going to make, but if you get behind a guy on a bench and you're leaning over and you're kind of doing this, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be pulling 700, 800, 900 up like that.
No, that's like an upright row, and you're leaning.
Yeah, it's impossible. You're in an awkward position. You're off balance a little bit. you know. So anyway, to the point of my story was when Lee said that, I'll have to confirm that with Lee, but I did the same thing. I never wanted to go to a powerlifting meet and say I benched, I don't know, 650, 675 legit. And that was my best, right? So now, if I continue doing what I was doing as the Iron Bull, you know, doing, you know, power events and stuff like that, and I was doing 8 and change, you know, with a spotter, that guy, you know, the hater guy would say, yeah, I don't care what Jimmy does, 8, 9,000, 2,000. He's only good for 675 in competition. You know, to fuck all the rest of that shit that he does. You know what I mean? So that's why I never gave him that real number, man, because I didn't want to be stuck to a number, you know? So the way I was doing it took a lot of strength too.
Fuck yeah.
But you know, I never I never gave him that solid number where I'd be stuck to that number. I didn't want to be stuck to that fucking number.
But Jimmy, let me cut it for a second. Let me tell you something. The difference, you and I are 65. You just turned 66, but you and I same age. If we had the internet was back then when you were doing all those things, you know, the feats of strength and shit that you were doing, you would have had million followers. You would have been everywhere. You would have been. They'd go to the Arnold Expo. They have you do one of them bench presses right there with all the fucking crowd at the Arnold Expo. You would have a line down the street and around the corner. You understand? Those trend twins, that kid Sam Salik.
Yeah.
They'll sit at a booth, and right there could be Mr. Olympia, and he won't have half the people. Mr. Olympia won't have half the people. Look at Rich Piana. He wasn't fucking Mr. Olympia. He wasn't even competing. He had lines around the
that's building. A good example, Rich Piana, right? He never competed, and he made a decent amount of money doing what he did.
He did.
I don't know if he had did he have a product out too? Did he have a protein?
Yeah, he did the 5%. You know what I mean? Yeah, but the thing is, Jimmy, what I'm saying is you and I are from
he did, excuse me, Greg, but he did the 5% without ever competing, right? Just being himself.
Right, but that's the thing. He competed in the 90s, but he hadn't competed in the 2000s. He started hitting himself with all that shit and everything. And then he walked in with all the tattoos and all that shit, created a character.
Right.
And he would have lines. Jimmy, we'd go to, I seen fucking, at the time, what's his name? Phil Heath was Mr. Olympia. He was sitting at a table. He had like 10 people. Over here, there was a line around the outside of the building, for Christ's sake, for Rich. What I'm saying is you and I were from an era that, you know, even when I did, I did a lot of TV, movie shit. But I'm saying we would have, today with the internet and social media, forget about it. Jimmy, you would have, forget about it. Nobody would have cared that if you did an assistant, but you put that 1,000 pounds, you're up there fucking doing it. You'd have fucking people. I mean, forget it. You would have a crowd at that fucking, you'd be able to sell shit. You'd be making money just off social media. You wouldn't even have to work anymore. You'd make money off social media. I'm telling you.
Bro, listen, I always said that about myself. I always, you know, a day late, dollar short. That's the story of my life, right? So if we had these phones,
oh my God,
back in the 90s, when I was traveling all over Japan, Germany, you know, I lifted at the FIBO in Germany. You know what I mean? Listen. Forget about it. You know, I would have reached to so many people with that phone.
You would have had millions, and that would have equaled.
I would have did a seminar, immediately put it up on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, TikTok. You know, I would have been all over the place there. But we didn't. All we had back then was the magazines. You know what I mean? So you know, when I made the cover of Muscular Development that one year, you know, that was huge for me, man. You know, it was. You know, I was like,
I remember that.
Huh?
I remember that. You had that big dumbbell like this.
The dumbbell pick,
the 150s. Yeah. I mean, I you know, that was like the highlight of my career. Like when I made that cover.
But see, the difference is that's magazine. Everybody, old school people know, like yourself, myself, and everything. But the new kids today, they would go crazy over what you did. You'd have fucking millions of followers, right? And then you'd be able to like forget about it. You'd have companies wanting to sign you. Yeah. You'd be making your own money just the clicks alone on your videos. The clicks alone, you'd be making money. You know what I'm saying? These kids make more money off of. They make $1 million off of just on YouTube. Joe, how much do you think the Trend Twins pull in a year?
Oh, they make good money. Probably $1 million a year, maybe maybe a little more.
Jimmy, just doing videos, Jim.
I don't even know who they are. Who these guys?
They're almost like the Barbarian Brothers. They're two young kids that kind of create a character. They're twins, like the Barbarians, and they like
Why, they wear overalls and boots.
Yeah,
like,
they got like hats sideways, which like fucking like they look like gangstery type kids. You know what I'm saying? And
how old are they?
Early young,
20s,
early 20s, yeah, early 20s.
But they were doing it since they were teenagers, Jimmy. And people relate to that shit. And they do heavy weights and they get they're jacked. I mean, they're juiced out of their minds. But it works for them. And now you put them. If I went to the Arnold Expo,
why would they ever want to compete? That's my point.
Why would you compete?
Exactly. And that was like Lee's point. Lee made that point. Like those guys, right? The Trend Twins. Why the hell would you ever want to compete? You're making a ton of money. You're having fun, right? You're doing entertainment basically, and you're making money. That's what I always did when I was younger. I mean, all the seminars I did, to me, it was entertainment, man. I used to take the mic and MC and joke. You remember when I was at Mom's place? I would make jokes on the mic and then do a set, and I had a lot of fun, man. Then I would sit back down at the booth.
The best was seeing you and that girl Rita, because she was fucking jacked. I remember her bench pressing fucking like 300 pounds or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that was crazy.
Yeah, one seminar. I think I told you about. Huh?
We got a couple more questions I'm going to try and answer for you. One of them said, Big Bag question says, question for Jimmy. Does he believe Gregg never used sight enhancement in his arms? Come on.
You can't.
That's the one. But this one,
maybe his cock. I don't know about his arms. But,
Venom123 says, Jimmy, I watch your DMV story video from RX a couple of times a year. It always puts me in a good mood.
Yeah.
That's good, brother.
I
mean, listen, I mean, like, when I tell my stories, they're real life stories, man.
That's why everyone loves them.
Shit. So, like the divorce, the job, the weight lift in the gym. I was never really like I'm not saying anything about bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is a great sport. It brings a lot of different things to the world. It really did. But I always look at myself as an entertainer. And when I tell my stories, I think a lot of people relate to them because people go through shit out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody goes through shit.
But Jimmy, you and I have something in common though. Me too. My life stories. Every time I give a life. The thing you and I live in a matrix that's different than everybody else. Like the laws of physics don't. In my life, my matrix, 2 and 2 doesn't equal 4. It equals some number nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, mine is 4.
I mean, right? Am I right or wrong? Like I get a cable. I want to watch TV from my computer, so I get a cable, get an HDMI, stick it in here, I plug it into the fucking TV, which is what you're supposed to do, and it doesn't work. Like anybody else does that. Look, I put the HDMI, I stick it here, and I have to fuck with it and go crazy and throw it across the room. Nothing in my life is normal. Nothing.
Yep. We're always swimming uphill, right, Greg?
Right. It's Jimmy. It's the truth. We're like Jimmy and I are like salmon. We're swimming up that fucking. We're swimming in the stream up the stream.
Yeah, we're those two motherfuckers coming out
trying
of the
to avoid
water.
the bear. Trying to avoid the bear.
And then there's a fucking bear waiting for us too. On top of that, right?
John Klein says yes. Jimmy would have 5 assistants if it was 30 years ago with the technology now. Yeah, you'd have a lot. You'd be
I see what you're saying. Assistant. He means like assistants, like people helping you, even text me. Yeah. He doesn't mean assistants on the bench or any shit. Yeah, dude, Jimmy, Jimmy wouldn't even have to travel. I mean, traveling would be great. Then you get even more money.
Anything like any kind of filming back in the day. My brother did. My brother did it, and he showed up. You remember those old VCR fucking things?
Yeah,
the tape on the side, click.
Yeah.
It was one of those shits,
Same here with me with that exploding arm shit. That was like 1999. It was a fucking VHS tape to and I'm over there trying to with a cord. I had a phone with a cord. You know what I mean? And you're over there. It's different. Today's different.
Yeah.
I tell you, there was so many. Watch out.
Pop Tart Fitness says Jimmy is talked about as one of the strongest men back in the day. Was he ever? Yep, that's what it says. Was he ever able to blow up or pop up water like Franco Colombo?
Oh, the water bit, the hot water bag.
The hot water bag. That was a trick. I think.
Wait a minute. I was at the fucking thing when Franco Colombo, the cocksucker. He was a cocksucker. He left us all there. I'm lucky. You could ask Kevin LeBron, but he was blowing up a hot water bottle. He had that fucking ring with the pin, Jimmy, like a little razor thing, and he would go like this and it would pop it. He did not blow it up where it popped. That's all bullshit. I was there. We did it for St. Jude's Hospital. Ronaldo Snipes, fucking Bill Kazmaier, Mike Matarazzo. Bob Bonham ran it. It was a big show. Kevin LeBron, we were all together, and he took the limo, and he told them it was a cold day like this shit, snowy out, and he told them, yeah, I'll just me today, the limo. And the limo guy left all them guys stranded, and I had to drive. Ask Kevin about that. And Franco had the light. Jimmy, he had that little ring, and it had like a thing on it.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Like this. Yeah, he didn't blow no fucking thing up till it popped.
Yeah. At quick
Yeah,
I
parking.
couldn't even blow that fucking thing up at all. I mean, we probably still stay flat.
I know.
At least he got the thing blown up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At quick parking and handicap spot says, Jimmy, what year and age did you know you weren't getting any stronger? What age was your peak?
So let me think about that a minute. So I gotta say, I mean, I would have probably peaked eventually, but what happened was probably like around 50, 50, like 50 to 55, I started to slow down a little bit, and then when I was just turning 55, my mother was very sick, and I spent months in the hospital with her, and everything went out the fucking window, weights, job, so I stayed with my mother till she passed away on me. And then I was
I remember.
I was probably pretty out of it for about 4 years, actually. I mean, I did train on and off. I didn't have no heart, so I mean, I definitely stayed strong till 50 at least,
Wow.
50 years old, but then I let it go. So I don't know how long I really could have kept it going.
Okay.
I probably could have kept it going for a while, probably into my 50s at least. I mean, because, what would slow me down? I mean, I was training consistently, but
Okay.
I let it go. I think I let it go,
At Ben Garcia has a question now. He says, Joe, can you ask Jimmy if you have ever had a chance to lift in the 80s, 90s pro wrestling stars like Ken Patera, Dino Bravo, Haku, Barbarian back in the days? Any pro wrestlers did you work out with?
I worked out with Alex Rizzo. He was with ECW.
Oh, that's right.
He was one of the Dudley brothers.
Dudleys, yeah.
I have pictures of me and Alex together. I knew Taz. Taz was running ECW at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, believe it or not, a long time ago, when I was working for, I think it was Twin Lab or Metrix, I can't remember, but I ended up going to I think maybe it was Twin Lab. I went to the Titan Towers in Connecticut.
Okay.
You know what that is?
Mm-hmm. It's the headquarters for WWE.
Yeah.
Exactly. WWF at the time.
Yes.
So I went in there to do, believe it or not, a seminar for a lot of the lifters, man.
Get out of here. I didn't know
Tommy
that.
Platz was there. Mankind was there, and like a lot of these wrestlers. Yeah. I was gonna actually. It's a long story, man, but I designed a piece of equipment, and I met the coach of the Bengals one year, and they were going to sign me, and
Get out of here.
yeah, man, yeah. That was all in the works, not for football, just to train with the guys and stuff,
Okay.
be like a strength coach kind of, in the gym.
People don't realize that Jimmy was also a martial artist. So fucking Jimmy could have kicked and jumped. He would have been a great wrestler, because I can picture Jimmy jumping off those top
I was
ropes.
going to wrestle. So, just to fast forward,
I could picture doing that.
Yeah, I was going to get an ECW. Taz wanted me to wrestle for ECW, and so did Alex. He was my best friend. So at the time, Scott Connolly, I said, Scott, listen, I didn't want to pay for the school. It was $3,000. I probably could have paid for it, but I was like, let Metrix pay for it. So I went to Scott. I told him the deal. I said, Taz wants me to go to the school, wrestle,
Right.
Learn the trade. And then I was going to come on as the Iron Bull. They were going to have me benching on the stage and shit, then wrestle and, with Alex and all of them, but there was this this brand new CEO at the time that Scott just hired, Len Moskowitz. I'll never forget his name, right? Nice guy. He wasn't a pricker, but he didn't want to get associated with ECW because he wanted Metrix to be like the Nike brand, right? So he didn't want to involve the company with this barbaric sport.
Yeah.
Because these guys were killing each other, man. I mean, it was like for real shit. I'll never forget. I went to one of Alex's wrestling matches. It was in Queens. It was the Sailor and Soldier places, and I brought my wife at the time, and because Alex says, "Come on, I want you to come to the match." So we went, bro, the place went berserk, man. They were throwing bottles and chairs in the audience. I took the jacket, I put it over my wife's head, and we went in the back, where Alex and all the rest of the guys were. Bro, they had like ice packs. They were bleeding. It looked like a war zone. I said, you guys really killing yourselves out there. And they were jumping on tables.
They really kill each other.
Yeah, jumping on tables with broken glass, hitting each other with wires and chains and shit. Folded chair. I mean, they were getting beat up, So then, so after Len Moskovitz, kind of turned it down, because I probably would have got in there. But the messed up thing was, like, they laid $1 short with me, because after he turned it down, even if I did go to the school and I hung for a little bit, they all signed with WWF after that, man. So
yeah, John Klein says Jimmy and WWE would have been perfect combo.
I'm telling you, Jimmy did martial arts. He could kick. Jimmy, you fucking.
I missed that fucking train too.
You kicking a fucking bag. You kicked the ceiling and shit like that. People don't know that you martial arts. They think you're just a strong man. That's why.
No, I did martial arts before I really started lifting. I did it. I took it before I went in the Marine Corps, and then when I was in the Marine Corps, there was this Marine. He was a Korean Marine.
Yeah, that's true.
And he was doing Taekwondo. We were taking classes from him, $10 a month. This is back in '76. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and he was teaching us, spinning wheel kicks and jump kicks, and so we did that for a while. I mean, it was fun. Then I got into it. Then I came out. I continued it. Then I met Richie Barrety, right? I started training with Richie.
Right, Richie
on the dojo floor, and matter of fact, his instructors, except for not Lenny Romeo, another friend of mine, I can't remember his name now. I know his name, I just can't remember. But anyway, he still has a dojo, But when I was kicking back at Richie's gym, Richie Rab's Health Club. I don't know if you remember that, but
I remember Richie.
Yeah, Richie Barrett. Yes. Anyway, it was half a gym and half a dojo, And the gym I used to go to, Freeman McNeil went there, Mark Gastineau, Jerry Cooney used to come there. Yeah, yeah.
All along, man.
Yeah.
I used to get on the floor, kick that bag, and his instructors used to come out of the office, and they say, Jimmy, man, you kick just like Richie, man, powerful, fast. I had some tremendous. Now forget I throw a kick, but my shoe will fly off, and I'll fucking land on it. I'll have to call an ambulance.
You'll be in the VA hospital again.
Yeah, the VA.
You'll be in the VA.
I'll fucking throw a kick, the leg will stay up there. It'll be locked in the joint, you know what I mean? I'm like,
holy fuck, that's fucking funny. You'd be sitting for like 2 weeks. I got fucking pull my
You'll be in the hospital with my leg in the air. They can't get it down, right?
Yep. Son of Sammy Davis said, did Jimmy ever cross paths with the strongman Manfred Holbar? Yes, you have.
Of course,
right?
Yeah, of course, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Manfred Holbar was from Germany.
Manfred.
Yeah. Yep. Manfred Holbar, I think it was Holbar.
Holbar, yeah. Where did Jimmy learn to play instruments?
So let me tell you a story about Hobart, and I'll tell you about the
instruments. Go ahead.
So we were going to do. I was doing John Romano was there. Hobart came out and he was doing dumbbell curls, 150s, right? That was his. Each one of us were coming doing it. It was one of the Arnold classics or whatever,
Right.
So Hobart came out and he's doing the 150s, like he grabbed them and he was doing like the hammer curl, like with the 150s, right? Everybody was cheering and shit. And he went backstage. So then I think her name was Andrea Schreiner. I forget her name. She was a blonde-headed girl.
Andrea Schreiner, yep.
Yeah, she was right. She was like the MC. John was there. So I was back. John will tell you the story. He was there. So I'm backstage. I'm warming up, man. I had 225 straight bomb screaming, right? Because they had me mic'd, right? I was throwing chairs around. I was going like baby shit in the back, right? And everybody in the audience was listening. They couldn't see me. I was behind the curtain, right? So finally I come out. I'm like, like a steaming bull and shit, And what was her name? Andrea Schreiner. What was her name?
Andrea Schreiner.
Yeah, Andrea Schreiner. So
she was possessed.
Yeah, she was cute. Yeah. So she comes up to me. She goes, Jimmy, what are you going to do? I got to tell the people. I said, I'm going to do 150 dumbbell curls. She goes, you can't do that. I says, why not? She goes, Hobart just did that. I says, nah. I says, that Hobart didn't do dumbbell curls. I says, go out there and tell him I'm going to do seated alternate dumbbell curls at 150s, right? She goes, all right. She didn't want to do it. So she went out there and she announced me. I came out on the stage and they had the chair set up, the adjustable bench, with the 150s. Bro, I grabbed those 150s off the floor and I just started wailing. I brought them up over my head like this, like that. Twisted them, curling over my head, rep after rep. Man, the place was going berserk, right? So anyway, later on that night, we always go like the hotel bar and stuff like that, hang out. And we went to this bar and it was this huge circle bar. And Hobart was on the end. Hobart was huge at the time, right?
He's tall too.
Yeah, he was a big guy. So I see Hobart in the hotel and he's drinking on the other side of the bar. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm fucking telling this guy now. You know what I mean? So he looks at me. I look at him. It kind of reminded me of the movie Jeremiah Johnson. At the end of the movie?
Yeah, of course.
The Indian went like this. First they were staring at each other.
Yeah.
And then the Indian went like that. And then Jeremiah went.
Stream. Yeah.
It's exactly what happened, right? So Hobart's looking at me. I'm looking at him. We're staring at each other. I go, I'm going to have a fucking problem. And all of a sudden, Hobart raised up his beer like that. And I raised my beer. And that was it. It was over. It was good.
No, that's good.
That's funny.
Then we were going to arm wrestle. This is another part of the show, right? So Hackley, I don't know if you remember Hackley, the black guy. He was
Fairfax. Wait, no.
That's it.
Fairfax Hackley, yes.
Yeah. He was a great guy, right?
Yeah, he was a really good guy. He was the head of the IFBB. He was up there with those guys. You know what I mean?
Matter of fact, he took me down. He took me to the White House, introduced me to all the Secret Service.
Yeah,
CIA
because
guys.
right. That's right. He was something to do with that. Some sort of.
Yeah, I was going to get They wanted to hire me. I was going to go to school, become a U.S. Marshal, and train these guys and shit, right?
Oh man,
that all fell apart because of the ex-wife. Anyway, so I was going to arm wrestle. So Hackley, right? He's beefing me up on the stage. Yeah, next up is Jimmy. I had the arm wrestle table there and everything, right? I was supposed to arm wrestle Hobart Manford, right? So me and him were backstage prior to Hackley announcing me. And Hobart goes, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. I said, listen, I don't want to fucking arm wrestle you, man. I said, listen, let's turn it into a brawl. I said, let's start arm wrestling, and then you fucking hit me, and I hit you, and we go on the floor, roll around, let everybody come out and break. We're going to turn it into like a whole like WWE thing, right?
Oh, that would have been funny.
Yeah. Oh, it would have been
great.
Oh, that would have been great. We were going to roll around the floor, punching each other and shit, right? We were going to everybody coming out, breaking it up, right? We had it all planned out, me and Hobart. So anyway, I go out there first, and Hackley announces me, "Yeah, Jimmy the Bull, 1,000-pound bench press, nobody in the world, the strongest." He was really beefing me up, and I'm like, saying to myself, "It's a little fucking weird. The guy's really beefing me the fuck up here." You know what I mean? It's like it was like a little too much. You know what I mean? Like he was going, and I knew why after, right? So. All of a sudden, out of the curtain, it wasn't Hobart. It was the heavyweight champ of the world. Arm wrestler, I forget his name.
Oh shit! Devin Levert.
Yeah, right.
Devin Levert.
Yeah, that's him, right? Yeah, you got a good memory, Greg. My memory shot. So he comes out, and I'm looking. He's walking towards me, and his right arm looked like fucking Popeye, and his other arm looked normal, right? And I looked at his one arm was like all locked because I guess he trains it all constantly. So it's his forearm it was all like that. It was deformed, and his it was bigger than the other arm,
Wow.
So I seen him walking towards me, and I said, "Oh fuck, this is it for me, man. This guy's gonna slaughter me." So he comes up to the table, and says, "How you doing?" This is after Hackley, like just blew me up. You know what I mean?
I see what he was doing.
Yeah. Now I see what he was doing. You know what I mean? He was prepping me for the kill. You know what I mean? So anyway, I grabbed the guy, and we started. Hackley let us go. We started going at it. It was impossible, man. I was fucking giving everything I had, and he was letting me go a little bit. Then he'd come back, and I'm like, this guy's he's playing with me. You know what I mean? So finally, he took me down. It was like nothing, man.
Yeah, that guy
was down a 10-year-old.
Oh Jesus.
He was in the war. That guy was shot a few times and stuff. Was he
really?
Yeah. He was.
What was his name? Devin what?
Devin Levert.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Levert, however you spell Levert, right? Tall. He's still a monster. He was. He was shot. He has a whole history. He was like an elite force with the Canadian like army or whatever the fuck it was, and he was shot in combat and everything. He's a legitimate.
Yeah, he's a real deal. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the real deal, and nobody can beat. He's a bad dude when it comes to.
I think he's still arm wrestling today. I think.
Yeah, he does. He still arm wrestles.
Yeah, because I see him on Instagram once in a while going at it and stuff like that.
The funniest thing was I saw him doing a fucking like a wrestling, not a wrestling, like a grappling. He did a grappling match with some dude, right? Some fucking like internet like guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the guy was like, he finally like got the guy, and the guy after the match was over. The guy's like, dude, I can't do this shit. Your breath stinks so fucking bad. And Levert's wife was going, oh shit. Me and my daughter tell him because he's he eats like raw garlic a lot.
It's supposed to be good for you.
Yeah, but the thing is, nobody could be around you because
I know.
Stinks, you know what I'm saying? And the guy was like, the guy said, I'll wrestle you again. He goes, but I can't breathe when I'm down there. He goes, hey, you had me where I couldn't breathe. And it wasn't because of the moves you put on, because your breath, I was breathing in that fucking whatever that is you were eating.
Toxic.
It's on the internet. You guys, some of you guys probably saw that. I don't know. The guys in the comments. It was funny. Some blonde haired dude or whatever. He was like, "Holy fuck!" He was all mad. I can't do it. I can't breathe. Your breath stinks.
Now, Greg, I know you can't take. Greg, you never can play an instrument to save your life.
No,
I played the guitar for over 20 years.
For years. Wait a minute. I took guitar lessons and I was the worst. I still can't play. So my mother made me take guitar lessons because she said
lessons too.
And but I suck.
Yeah.
So the question was that fella asked me how I started playing it.
Yeah, the instruments and stuff.
Well, when I was in elementary school, I used to play the trumpet, and so I believe it or not, I did. Yeah, believe it or not, the trumpet. I used to play trumpet, man. Yeah,
Jimmy.
And I used to I bought that thing for the end of it, whoa, I did the whole fucking thing. And I know. Yeah. I forget what that thing is called, but I did all that, and I was in a fucking band in elementary school. It was
you were in a band
too? It was called the stage band, yeah. And we played on the stage. It was a lot of fun, when I was. Anyway, make a long story short, so I always had like a little knack for instruments and stuff. So
you had an ear for it.
I had an ear for it, yeah. Except for when I was, I finally when I got to junior high, I one day I had a flute. I sold that for a bag of weed, and then I sold a trumpet for a bag of. I started getting to smoke a pot like in 7th grade. I started selling everything, my weed and shit.
That's funny.
That was the end of my instrument.
He sold his floor machines and all that shit.
Yeah, I was selling every fucking thing. I had to get a buzz on.
Jimmy, he's got to sell. He got to sell all his shit.
Buy a little bag of weed, right?
Have you ever heard Jimmy play the piano? No, for the guitar's one thing. You ever hear him play the piano? He's like Liberace. He plays classical piano.
So my mother, she had a guitar guy come give me lessons, right? Mm-hmm. And I couldn't stand the fucking guy. He was very impatient with me. When I was trying to play a chord, he'd take my fingers and he would like, push it on the string. Goes, no, like you could see he had no patience, this guy, So I didn't want to do it. I told my mother, I said, I don't want to do it no more, Ma. She says, why? What's the matter? I said, I don't like the guy. I just don't like him. You know what I mean? So she dropped him, and then I bought a guitar, of course, and I just started playing on my own. You know what I mean? Little by little, I started making up songs, and I just had an ear. I don't read music. I was reading music with him. But after my mother shit canned him, I didn't read music anymore. But
same thing with me. I read music. I can't read a fucking word of it.
I can't read music. I used to be able to, but I can't no more. But I loved the guitar, and I used to. I like Joe said, I had an ear. I used to be able to connect tones and chords, and that's what I did. And the piano, I never really played piano. Until did I tell that story, Joe? I think I told it on Dave's show how I found the piano.
Oh yeah, Telly Savalas, right?
Yeah, it was Telly Savalas' piano. Yeah, it was his brother Peter.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember Peter Savalas. He was an actor too.
I don't know if he was an actor, but
yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, I think he was. I think
he wasn't popular like Telly was, but he was an actor.
Telly put him in everything. His brother put him in everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because Telly, he was a detective, wasn't he? A detective?
Yeah, he was in fucking Kojak. Kojak. And then his brother was that curly-haired guy, the chubby curly-haired guy. You're right, Joe. He put him in the fucking. That's right.
Put him in everything.
He was in Kojak. You ever see Peter Savalas was the curly-haired?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
had like a little afro and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we found the piano, and the story went that I went to the guy's basement to get, the sign said free piano if you can get it out of the house. So we went to the house. I went with my mother, right? And I went downstairs, and the guy had tons of books, and he had like walkways through the books downstairs, then it like went into this clearing, and there was the piano, right? I'm like,
Oh shit.
yeah, it was like, yeah, a lot of books. So anyway, I'm talking to him about the piano. It was an upright, it wasn't anything great. And I started seeing pictures all over it, like this, I mean, it was him and Telly Savalas, him and Telly Savalas, him and Telly Savalas. So I said, wow, I said, you really you like Telly Savalas, huh? And he goes, yeah, it's my brother. I said, oh, no shit. I said, that's your brother? He says, yeah. I said, I got to come back with a piano, man. So I did. The next day I came back with my guys, and we got the piano out of there, and I had. So then I started to knock around on the keys, and I started doing the same thing, putting notes together and, sounds, it's.
And you did a good job, bro. I've seen you play the piano. You play some good shit.
Yeah,
You play like classical play.
You listen, if you have any kind of ear for music, if something's out of tune, right? I mean, even if you're not a musician. So when I play piano, that's the same thing. I put notes together in a rhythm, and I try to keep it in tune with what I'm playing. I mean, when you hit a wrong key, what I mean. So I just continued it, and I started putting it. So basically, where I am now is I have one song, right?
Right.
That has no beginning and no end. It goes on forever, and it changes intermittently as I go along. So
it depends how many wines you.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of mood I'm in, right? So it's just one continuous song that changes from the beginning to the end and in the middle, but it's the same fucking song, but it goes on forever. So that's what I'm.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man.
I like it. It does something for me when I play. I mean, I used to play for my mother. She used to love it.
Yeah, both my kids play, and they never took lessons. My son was actually in a band, was a lead guitarist, but never took a lesson in his life.
Yeah, some people just have the
They didn't get it from me though.
Yeah, they just have the ear, man. It's like when I used to play for my mother back in the day when I was younger. She used to sit on the front porch of the house in the summertime. We had all the windows open. We had a giant bay window in the front of the house. And I used to play inside the house, and my mother used to just sit in the front and just listen to me playing. She loved it. She said, Jimmy, it sounds like running water. That's how I used to play. I mean, yeah, she used to, so yeah, that's why I keep it going.
That's good. I think
we got another question here. Quit Park says, what did Jimmy implement in his training to actually gain strength? Was it just slightly going up in weight every week or two?
I think he's just naturally strong. It's in his blood to be like that.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Jimmy?
So wait, what's the rest of it saying? I can't read it. So
he's basically asking you, what did you do to make yourself so strong? Was it like a routine that you did? Did you like to just slowly get stronger, or were you just like the kind of guy that when you started lifting weights, you just got strong right away?
Well, I have to admit, I genetically was definitely strong.
Right.
I mean, but
without a doubt.
When I was a kid, I used to bench with my friends. We used to bench with those. I remember I told you, Greg, those Sears plastic shit weights.
I had the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, the concrete would be falling out of it when you're working out and shit.
That's because
I used to make up these bullshit dumbbells, and I used to do the laid out flies and clunk them. The concrete, I'd go.
Yeah, dude.
The concrete
the plastic would break up.
Yeah, you had to wear like glasses. The concrete going in your face and shit. Right? So anyway, like when I used to bench with my friends back then, I was still in school. I had long hair, believe it or not, because my father died. He was a Korean War vet. He was very patriotic. I had a high and tight my whole, and when my father died, I went nuts. I grew my hair long. I started smoking. But anyway, make a long story short, I used to bench with my friends who were training. I wasn't. I was hanging out with the hippies and shit, smoking weed, drinking shit. And then I go to my friend's house and they were all working out like crazy, and I used to I go over to the bench. They had like 200 pounds loaded up at the time, they were struggling and shit. And I went over and I just started like doing it. And they were like, "How the hell can you do that? You party, you don't even train." I said, "I don't know what to tell you, man." So anyway, I started to train. And then when I was going up in increments in strength, we had the regular bullshit York bench press. And because we didn't have 45s, we had to do all 10s and shit. We used to put the bench press up on milk crates, because at the end of at the bar we had to tie the weights with a rope through the hole. So the reason why we had to put the bench up is that when I benched, the fucking rope wouldn't hit the ground, because that's the only way you could put the weight on is have it hanging. You know what I mean? So anyway, I was telling the story. I don't know. I think to Joe the other day. What happened was, there was this black guy. I never forget him. I used to pedal up to the high school. All they had was a fucking Universal back in those days, Greg.
Me too. Yup.
They didn't have no gyms and shit. Maybe Lucille Roberts or Jack LaLanne, maybe. That was around. Then
Just the Universal, the bench press with the stack and shit,
yeah,
right?
It was like a big chrome.
The same
metal.
thing with us, because you and I went to high school at the same time, 1978.
Yeah. So they had like the leg press on one end, the bench on the other end.
Yeah.
And then you put the stool there, and you did the presses with the fucking stool. And then they had the lat pulled down. It was a whole.
Like a jungle gym thing. Right.
It was all plate loaded, right? So anyway, this I used to pedal up to the high school because I started really getting into training, and once I started training with my friends, that was it. I just loved training. I didn't give a fuck. I just wanted to train. So, I used to pedal up to the high school and work out. And this place was like, I'll never forget. It was just crowded with everybody. Everybody was on the Universal. It was like hot as fuck in there, and everybody was working out. And there was this black guy in there. He had an army shirt on with cut off sleeves. He had pretty big arms too, right? So I was impressed by the way he looked. I always thought black guys, looked better, muscular for some reason. I don't know why, but even when I was in Marine Corps, this guy Sledge, he had fantastic arms, man. I don't know, they genetically good with gaining muscle and tone. It looks good, Anyway, so I was impressed by the way he looked, and then I got friendly with him. And he's like, "Jimmy, you want to, help me with this bench?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Now, those on the bench on the Universals, Greg, the bench is already down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to push it from the down position, right?
Right.
So he's like, "Could you help me get this?" He had the stack on. It was like 200 something, 220, whatever the fucking stack was. So he put the pin on the bottom stack. He got under it, and I grabbed the handle, on the side, right? Because how it's shaped like this, right?
It's like that.
And then it goes out, right? So he was under there, and I grabbed the end handle, and I went up with him like that. And then he started to do reps, and he wanted me to stay. So I kept my hand on the handle, and I was just helping him through the reps. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, I asked him, I said, "Can you do that for me?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." So I got under it, and he helped me push it up. And then he stayed with me with the finger, and he was doing that too. And it felt fucking really good, man, for me, mentally and everything, So I was like, wow, that was great. You know what I mean? So that was like the beginning of my force rep, training technique was force reps. So later on in life, I kept that going. But so the point they're trying to make is like, say your best bench is 200. You could be anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to, increase, right? What I would do, this is me now. I don't know about what everybody else does. This is what I did. You put on 245 or whatever, and you have a friend spot you. You pop it off, and the guy gives you a couple of reps, right? And you do that for a few weeks, and then you go back to 200, 185. You drop that. You do your drop sets. Following week, you do the same thing. Eventually, you're going to be able to put more weight on with the force reps. So what happens is, this is what happens. Once you put it on, like, say, 315, and now you're able to start doing force reps with 315, right? Then you strip the plate off, and you put quarters on. You're able to do 255, whatever, because your force reps are going up, and it raises your natural bench level up. That's how it works. So the more force reps you do, and increase on the force reps, your natural bench line will start to increase.
Yeah, your
also.
body starts to adapt to that weight. You almost like
Exactly,
it's
Greg.
not
Right,
new to you anymore.
right.
After a while, you get used to it too.
Yes,
right.
exactly. Your shoulder, your muscle, your your chest, because you're going up on your 315, 365 force reps. Now you're doing 315 clean because now you're up to 405. That it takes a while, but that definitely helps you increase your bench if you stay consistent with it and you stay at it and you slowly do it. As the weeks go on, you could definitely. I did, and I proved that I did it to, my friend Richie Barrett, not Richie Barrett, Richie Capri owned Cafe Royale, the strip joint. I started training him, right? That guy could barely do 185, man, bro. I had in 1 year, I had him doing 405, man, doing that.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and he started shaving his chest. He was getting all into, oiling up. He became like a superstar because I molded him, into that, because I know how to tweak the muscle. I definitely know how to get muscles stronger. I'm doing it 50 fucking years. I know how to take a person and make him stronger. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's really what I do. So
I used to start with, like, let's say you start with 135 and you're doing use that number. Let's say 300 is your top, and then once I start getting stronger, if I did the force reps, I would actually add like 2.5 on each side on the bottom too. You know what I mean? So instead of 135, now I'm doing 140, and if I got to do 15 reps, would I do 15 reps? So you're now doing 15 reps instead of with 135. You're doing it now with 140. So each time you go up, that 5 pounds goes you follow it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the
each
same
time you
system.
put on a little weight, and the next set you do, you still have that 5 pounds on. You still. So now your body's getting used to doing those reps with that extra weight too.
Exactly, and then also mentally, okay, because I can't tell you how many people I've trained in the past, and I wanted them to do a force rep, and I say the guy has 2 1/4 was his best bench for a couple, right?
Right.
And then I would say, okay, come on, put some quarters on, and he'd be like, I don't know, I said, listen, don't think like that, man. I'm going to spot you. We're going to go through a few reps. He was like fearful of the weight, and that's you don't want to do that either. So I put the quarters on. I said, don't worry, I'm going to stay with you no matter what. I said, if anything happens, I'll hear. You know what I mean? So I popped it off, and he started doing the reps, and I was giving him a little, little spot. And then all of a sudden, like a light bulb, and he was like, holy shit, I did that. I said, of course you did it, and then I get him up to 315, and that's, a lot of it's mental. So, once you do it and you break that fear, because a lot of guys still, the first thing they'll say is, I can't do that. What do you mean you can't?
But Jimmy, has this ever happened to you?
Try? What do you mean you can't do it? Let's give it a shot first. You know what I mean?
Jimmy, has this ever happened to you where you have a guy who's in the gym, right? And he says to you, can you spot me? I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to try, right? And then you go there, he sees your hands there, and you're like, okay. And all of a sudden, he just lifts it up himself. But because he sees your hands there, he thinks, you understand, mentally, he feels like, I was like, dude, you didn't even need me. You did it on your own. I didn't even touch the bar.
Greg, 100%. Listen, man, I believe, it's physical too, right? But a lot of it is the mental attitude, bro.
100%.
When I was in the peak of my career, right? I mean, I was still trying to tweak myself, even when I was, ape shit strong, right? I would do body parts during the week, and then I would say, something, Friday, man, I'm going to bench. I said to myself when I was at work, I said, when Friday comes, I'm going to fucking bench like a motherfucker, right? And and then Friday would come, I walk in the gym, I did biceps. I tried to this is how sick I was. I would try to fool my body, like my body was separate from my consciousness. Like I would tell my body I'm going to bench, and then when I got there Friday, I throw the girls in there. You know what I mean? Just to upset the whole thing. And that's another thing too. I tell people, don't bench every Monday. You go to the gym on Monday. Everybody's bench pressing on Monday. You go, come on, everybody's bench. What the fuck is this? Right? You know what I mean?
That's
what is
true.
It? Everybody's doing fucking chest on Monday. What the fuck?
That's true. That's so true.
Yeah, so you don't want, you gotta upset the routine too. You can't always bench on fucking Monday, man. You know what I mean? You gotta go to the gym, do back. And then do bar, do bench later. You gotta mix up the routines. I always stuck to the basics, flat bench, flat flies, cable crossovers, maybe a pec deck. But then a lot of other times I would throw some weird shit in there. You know what I mean? Just to add into my basic routine. I would throw some other crazy crap in there. You know.
Did you ever punish yourself? Like I never miss workouts because I'm nuts with that shit. But if I missed a workout, I would almost dream I'm in the gym and it closes in 10 minutes and I got a whole work. So the next day when I get to the gym, I'm like, okay, motherfucker, you missed that work. Now I'm gonna punish. You know, like I force myself. I'm banging the ephedrine and I fucking just start going nuts. Add extra sets, more weights, and I actually punish myself. Like
I did that too, minus the ephedrine because I didn't want to fucking have a heart attack. But I would go.
No, you and Jimmy Quinn were just doing.
Yeah, I know. We did that one time. I know. Yeah, that was fucking nuts. Well, we never did anything anyway. We did like 2 reps. We walked out of the gym. You know?
John Klein.
Punish yourself, right? You ever do that? Punish yourself.
John Klein said, "Jimmy and Gregg, we value your memories, and really, I'm 50, and I did the Venice Golds and heard about you guys a lot."
Thank you.
At Quit Parking Handicraft says, "Jimmy, is it possible to do that method without a training partner?" Is it possible to do that without a training partner? Probably not, right?
Not really. No, not really. And that's definitely a buddy system kind of workout. I mean, listen, you know, you don't have to do that every week. I mean, you could go to the gym and just do a regular routine, and then maybe the following week, you know, then you could get a partner to spot you. It's very hard. I've always had training partners. I'll be honest with you. I trained with Jimmy Quinn for years. You know, me and Frank Zeppi, we used to train together. I mean, I always had training partners. It's hard to train by yourself, man.
That kind of workouts. How are you going to do force reps and experience?
You can't. You got to have somebody. If you're
going to try to push heavier weights and do force reps, you can't do it on your own. In that case, you have to have a partner.
You have to. Yeah. You know what I was doing back at that day there. I was already on contracts and stuff, and I was just kept trying to increase. You know, so I always had to have a. I'll tell you a quick story. I went down to Florida. I was going to do a bench seminar for Tom Ciola for Hot Stuff back in the day.
Oh, I remember Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, remember him? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And Tim Belknap married his daughter and shit. Belknap, what's his name?
Did Tim Belknap? That's he married.
Yeah.
I've seen him go off and go.
He knew what he was doing. He was marrying into money. He knew what he was doing. So anyway, make a long story short, I walk into this gym, and I was in Florida a couple of days. I always had to train. So I walk in the gym and I start benching, right? And there was this group of powerlifters in the corner. I was in West Palm Beach, I'll never forget it. And there's these group of powerlifters, man. They got the smell of salted chalk. They had a wooden platform. They had a whole thing set up for these guys, right? And they're fucking squatting, deadlifting, yelling and screaming. So I walk in, they all look at me. I was big, of course, you know. And they probably look at me and say, "Who the fuck's this guy?" You know, they never saw him before. You know what I mean? So I didn't care. I was very humble, Greg. You know, I was never.
Oh no, you always.
Was I ever a dick? Yeah, you know, in my whole career, I was never a dick. Never.
Yes. No, you were always.
I always
very
helped
good.
everybody. I gave him. I said, "Don't do it that way. Do it this way." If the guy accepted it, he did it. If not, he told me to fuck off. I said, "All right, no problem." You know what I mean?
You looked intimidating. You looked intimidating, though.
I did look intimidating, yeah. And when I trained, I was very intimidating because I did a lot of barking.
He attacked the weight.
And I didn't really talk too much to people. So I mean, when I was training, because I was training. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, so I walk in this gym and I see the bench there. It's a nice gym. It's a nice bench. It was nice and low. I hate those high gym. I go to LA Fitness sometimes. Greg, I swear to God, I got to put 45s on the floor for my fucking feet. My feet don't hit I feel like an asshole. I got training wheels on. I got my feet on 45s because I can't touch the ground on this bench.
I know the feel. Trust me, I know the feel.
It's retarded, man. I'm like, what? You know, my training partner goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I can't touch the floor. Look, I lay down without the plates. My toes are hanging off the floor." I go, look, how the fuck am I going to bench like this? You got to drive with your feet when you're benching me. I can't have my feet hanging in the fucking air. You know, so I used to put the plate. He used to get embarrassed, you know. So anyway, I go into the gym and it was a nice low bench, you know, and I said, "This is perfect, man." So I said, I'll bench because I don't know what I was going to do. And I was just going to wing, you know, if the bench sucked, I wasn't going to bench, you know. So it was a nice bench. So got under it. I started 1 plate, 2 plates, you know. I work on my way up 3 plates. I used to go like 5 plates and change on my own, you know. So then I started getting to the 6th plate. So there was an old man next to me at that time. He probably was 80. You know, to me that was old. I'm right around the corner from that now, man.
Hello, goodbye. Me
back
too.
then, the guy looked fucking ancient. You know what I mean? So anyway, I put 6 plates on and I go over to the old guy. You know, I said, sir, can you do me a favor, sir? Could you give me a spot? He looked at me like I was fucking nuts. He said,
man.
he goes, you want me to spot you with that? I go, yeah, no problem. I said, look, I just need a little bit of a, believe me, you'll be okay. You'll be, I goes, all right. So he came over, and I get under the bench and I told him how to do it, and he grabbed the ball and I took it off and I banged out like 3, 4, whatever it was, with him spot me, and I racked it. Then I put 7 plates on because he was walking away. I go, excuse me, where are you going? He goes, I said, I got to get me on this one. Could you? He goes, I said,
Oh,
you're pretty
shit.
good. He's like, no. He goes, are you kidding me? I said, no, come on, don't worry about it. So I was, meanwhile, the powerlifter guys were watching me, right? I went to like 8 plates with this old man doing fucking bench.
Oh,
Right?
shit.
Oh wow.
And the guys over there, I heard all of a sudden like they were quiet, they were watching me. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, this is it. How's that feel?
That's fucking impressive. That's pretty
Because they gave me a
man.
fucking attitude when they walked in the gym right away.
Of course.
They
Yeah.
didn't know
think
if
it's
I was
a
a
mel-
nice guy. I could have been the nicest guy in the world. You give me a fucking attitude for it because I have size and I look like a
Yep.
a badass or whatever. But I really
Mhm.
wasn't a badass. You know what I mean? I was
Mhm.
just doing my thing.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Hey,
Yeah.
I can ask you guys one question. Jimmy, how come I gotta go pee really fast? How come you don't have to pee? You're drinking you don't pee like that?
I've been holding it, Greg. I've been
Dude,
holding it.
I can't hold it. I get fucking first.
All
I
right,
get
go pee. Come
I'll
back.
be right back. 10 seconds.
So
So,
Ben
go ahead.
Garcia has a question. Says, Joe, can you ask Jimmy what he thought of Anthony Clark?
I loved Anthony Clark, man. I loved that guy. He was like my brother. I got very close to Anthony Clark, and Anthony Clark was a legit, official record holder guy. I never broke a record, Joe.
Okay.
I've done benching and that nobody could duplicate. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I never took a record. I didn't want no fucking record. I was a renegade, man. I didn't want no fucking kind. I used to do seminars. That was my thing, man. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a seminar with Anthony once or twice, and then I think we were down in Georgia, me and Anthony, and I was gonna do a bench seminar with him, and I forgot my fucking. I used to wear a bench shirt once in a while. Remember the Inza? Inza used to make a bench shirt, right? Double ply, single ply.
Yes,
So,
I remember. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I didn't have a bench shirt, so Anthony called Inza, and they FedExed the fucking shirt over to Georgia, bro, so I could use it. Yeah, like that. I had to do the seminar that night. I didn't have the shirt. It was early in the day, and Anthony says, "Don't worry." He called Inza, and Inza FedExed the fucking shirt over, man. So
That's cool.
it was cool, man. Inza wanted me to wear their shirt. All right, this is like a non-official, fucking guy, no record, just a strength demo guy, that Inza wanted me to wear their shirt. So
Sorry, Greg.
That's okay. I had to pee.
Now you're on the bottom. I'm on the top. That's weird.
Yeah.
So anyway, they mailed in the shirt, and sure as shit, Anthony helped me put it on, and the shirt was so new, it wasn't even broken. It was a double ply. I had 765 on the fucking thing, and Anthony was spotting me, and he popped. Yeah, Anthony Clark. Yeah, and he popped it off. I took it down, and I swear, Greg, the bench came like halfway. I couldn't get it down anymore.
Really?
Yeah, Anthony was fucking leaning on the fucking floor. I couldn't get the fucking thing down. The shirt was so fucking tight. It stopped right here. You know what I mean? So anyway.
I see. Yeah, guy. I was training with Joe Steinfeld, who was like a world record holder. He would wear those. His arms would be out like this. He'd be walking in the gym like that.
Now I gotta tell you something about those fucking shirts. Not that I'm saying anything bad about those shirts, but there's a couple of tricks I learned with those shirts. Okay. They're very tight in here, Greg, right? When you come down, the shirt will crease right here. It creates a crease. So when you come down, it's actually like a rope right in your pec. You got to be very careful. Guys tear pecs with those shirts. Yeah, Dick. So what I used to do, I got smart later on when I started. After a while, I didn't even use the shirts anymore. But when I was using them, what I would do was I'd wear like a runner's T-shirt, tight run, like a cyclist, right? T-shirt.
Right.
Like the ones I wear every fucking day, the black ones, right?
Yeah.
And then I would take baby powder and I would put the baby powder all up around my shoulders, and then they'd help me put the shirt on. And I would bench like that. And the reason why I benched like that with the shirt and the powder is because when I came down with that weight, with that Inza shirt on, it would just slide on the shirt and the powder, man. It wouldn't dig in. Because if you put that shirt on your raw skin, your sweaty raw skin, it grips. So when you come down with that shirt, it'll grip. It'll grip into your chest because it's biting your skin because you're sweating.
Right.
And the material, right? So when you put the running shirt on, a little bit of powder, it acts like a grease and it just slides. And I started doing it like that. That's what I, did later on, because I didn't want to rip no fucking peck with that shirt because I went heavy, and that shirt dug in.
Yeah, you don't want.
If you ever see pictures of guys like that, you'll see their pec, and then you'll see a line across the top. That's what that Inza shirt is about. It's a great shirt, but you got to be careful with it.
Plus, pinching you and pulling on your skin like that could actually cause you to drop the fucking weight. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it really hurts. You know what I mean? Like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're in the middle of a rep, you're coming down, you're sweating, that shirt's dragging on you. Rip your neck. That's it. The game's over. You know what I mean? So,
what was your heaviest weight, Jimmy, at your peak? How much did you weigh?
Body weight.
Body weight.
I know this is going to sound impossible, but I'm going to tell you how much I weighed in all my career. I had a 32-inch waist. I had 10% body fat. And I weighed 219.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
When
I was in the magazine,
he was lean.
People thought I was 300 fucking pounds. I was 300. I was 219. When I did the 1,000-pound bench, I was 219 when I did that bench, bro. 219.
No way. I would have never.
Yeah, no, he was very lean. I seen when he was younger, his waist was tiny like this.
Yeah, had a 31, 32-inch waist.
Yeah,
man.
he wore them hopskins and it was fucking his ass and shit was nice.
Yeah, I know. It was sexy, right?
He had a nice ass. No, he did. He was small waist, small. He didn't have no bloat. He wasn't. He was very lean. He was lean. He was veiny and all hard.
32-inch waist. I mean, you can probably see it in one of these pictures over here. I mean, this picture over here, you could see it probably a little bit. You can see I don't know if you can see that picture up there.
Yeah, I see it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see it? I mean, I had a thin waist, man. 32 inches for the longest time, man. Now I got like 36, but I'm older. I weigh 260 now. Wow. So I'm getting back into the gym now. I'm going to start to slowly tighten up again. Get just for other reasons that Joe probably knows why, but
yes, I know why. We got
that's
some good stuff happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah,
we got to start doing that. Yeah,
got to get it. Anyways, I train these days, Greg. I don't go nuts on the bench, man. 275. Have somebody spot me. Maybe 315. But I just want to stay conditioned in these days. I'm not looking to.
That's me too. I'm not trying to get.
I'm not power driving nothing really. You know what I mean? So. Back, I still go a little heavy because I've always had a strong back, Like when you're talking about killing yourself before, I used to do that too. When I used to do the dumbbell, the one-arm dumbbell rows, I used to do, drop sets. I used to take a 180, bang it the rest. Then I had all the dumbbells on the floor, right? People used to look at me, at 180, 150, 140, 120, 100, and I used to go, and I used to go 180, 150, 120, whatever the fuck they had, 70, 150, 140, all the way down the fucking line in one arm, man. I don't know how the fuck I did it because, I had one time I had this bouncer from the strip club. He wanted to train me. His name was Darren. Never forget him. Big guy.
Right.
I said, yeah, you want to train me? No problem. I said, I'm doing convention today. We're gonna train at Babylon Gym, World's Gym in Babylon. That was what's his name's gym? Anyway.
World's Gym in Babylon.
It wasn't Dave Pomponi. It was somebody else. I forget his name, man. His sister worked there. His father fucking hated me. Anyway, so I go to the gym, and he met me there, and we started benching. And I was doing drop sets, I worked my way up to like 5-6 plates.
Right.
He couldn't go that high, but then as we were stripping him, I would do high repetitions, 4 or 5. I would do like 20. Then I would strip them down 315. Do like fucking 30. Stripped out 2 to I would do like that. I call them blood sets, right? So he did it where he tried to do it with me, and he ended up fucking turning white. And he was
shit!
And he was a black guy too. He turned white. And he started throwing up in the gym. He's like, Jim. He sat down. He was like, I felt so bad. I was like, all right, man, take it easy down. I said, sit down, relax. I said, I know you're not used to this type of workout. You know what I mean? You got to be really conditioned to the workouts that I did. They were hard, fast, high reps. You had to be in shape. You know what I mean? To do this workout. You know, it wasn't like a la-di-da fucking workout. You know, it was Marine Corps shit, like, you know, like boot camp. You know,
Mhm.
and that's I used to love training. I used to do biceps like that. I used to do drop sets on the dumbbell curls. I used to do straight bar curls, work my way up as heavy as I fucking could, you know, 275, whatever, right? Uh, I don't know if you remember Mike Cluck. He owned the Gold's Gym in Northport. But anyway, I used to do,
No.
yeah, I used to do 275, 5, 6 reps with the, then drop that, then run over to the 150 dumbbells, curl the 150s, throw them down, get the 140s, throw them down, get the 120. I go all the way down to 80, and I was doing 80. But my arms were screaming, bro. You know, that's what I used to do. But I loved it. I loved it. I really did.
That son of Sammy Davis said, Jimmy, why do you think they threaten private planes and they will shoot them down if they fly over Antarctica?
Oh, he wants to go over there now.
No,
I guess he's going the flat Earth routine.
Nick.
Here we go.
Here we go.
But that's probably another whole podcast, man.
That's another show.
Yeah, I will answer that, but another time, because that's if
That
Joe
gets
wants
deep,
to,
right?
yeah, if Joe wants to go down that path, I will go down that path, but it's going to take way too long tonight to get into that, because it's not just the private plane flying over the Antarctica. There's a whole shitload of shit that surrounds it, behind it, and in front of it, and the history, and Operation High Jump. I mean, it goes on and on. Forget about it. You know, so
yeah.
I'll save that. We'll remember that. I'll save that for another podcast.
Someone asked if you still ever see Caesar the dog from Caesar, the dog that ripped you and attacked you.
No, I never saw that son of a bitch again, man.
Never saw Caesar the
I
dog.
got fired from that job. I told you, I got fired.
Really? Was it because of that?
Yeah, because they said I didn't file a dog attack. I was supposed to file a report. I never did. Right? So they were mad about that. And then when I was going to some lady's house in Howard Beach or wherever the hell I was, I mentioned her address, but yeah, but I think it was a bogus address. I really didn't, because I probably said it wrong. And then I mentioned one of the employees' names. Her name was Donna. She gave me the address, but it was fucked up. It was a Jamaica Queens somewhere.
Oh, shit.
You know how they do Jamaica Queens, Greg? They do 128-03.
I hate that.
57th Street.
I don't know how you find shit over there.
Yeah, it's all fucked up. The numbers are all fucked up. 128-9, 59th Street, South, East.
Yeah, I don't understand any of that shit.
I used to put it on my GPS and I couldn't find the fucking place, right? So I was ranting about it on the show, and then I forgot about it. I ranted, I did my thing, and a week or two went by. Then I got COVID.
Oh,
and,
shit.
I was sick, so I had to stay home. Matter of fact, I'll never forget it, man. Frank Zeppi, I got to be honest with you, man. He came to my house, man. He left me chicken soup on my front step because he called me up. He says, "Hey, you all right, Jimmy?" I said, "Yeah, I got fucking COVID." I felt weird, bro, in that COVID shit, man. I can't even tell you how I felt. I didn't even know if I was going to fucking make it. You know what I mean? So Frank called me up. He goes, "You all right?" He goes, "You need anything?" I said, "I don't know, Frank. I really haven't eaten, He goes, "You want chicken noodle soup?" I said, "Yeah, that sounds good." So he went to the Chinese place and he left it on my doorstep, man.
Frank's a good guy. I like Frank Seppi.
I'll be honest, that touched my fucking heart because, for somebody to come and drop food off like that to you, they really care.
He's a good guy. I like
really
Frank
fucking
Seppi a
sweet
lot.
of Frank to do it. I know Frank a long time. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
I know you know him. Yeah.
But still, he didn't have to do that, and he did it. And it was very nice.
No, Frank's a great fucking guy. I love Frank Seppi. That's
yeah. He's good. He's good, Frank. So anyway, make a long story short, I tell you the story when we were in California and we couldn't get out of there. We went to a tattoo convention and we almost got killed over there and shit.
Oh, you and Frank?
Yeah, we were hiding behind an electric box. I told you that story, right?
Yeah, I think he did. But say it again. I like hearing it.
I don't remember that story. I don't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, so let me just finish this. How I got fired. So I stayed home, and it was like Friday. I was at home a whole week, and in those days, if you got sick with the COVID, they had to pay you if you had COVID. And I had the doctor's note that I was positive, right?
Mhm.
So I stayed home the whole week, whatever it was. And then the weekend came, and the dispatcher called me. It was like a Saturday, and I'm like, I'm not answering. They probably wanted to know if I was going to come to work Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck that. I ain't answering the phone. I said, I'll call him fucking Sunday. I just got over this COVID shit. I'm going to chill, you know what I mean? So anyway, one of the guys on the job, I shouldn't open my fucking mouth that I was doing a podcast. I should have kept that quiet for the employees. he's like, the dispatcher was saying, I can't get a hold of Jimmy. You know, I'm worried. You know, it's. So the guy goes, I'll never forget the kid. I know that I forget his name, but I remember his face. He goes, hey, just go on rxmuscle.com. You know, after hours. You know, see if he's doing any shows. Sure as shit, the fucking boss goes on there. He's checking it out. There I am. That cocksucker. That Donna gave me that wrong
shit,
address.
that's
I'm fucking
funny.
Jamaica, 132.027 Jamaica area. I'm fucking. I was going nuts, right? And then he sort of talk and tack to talk to me. So I called up Monday. I go, yeah, hey Rick, how you doing, man? I says, am I coming back to work? He goes, you know, just hang on. I'll see what's happening. I said, all right. Tuesday passed, Wednesday, I called the guy. I said, Rick, am I coming back to work or what? He goes, well, you know, it was like, that was March now. He goes, you know, we're winding down now. It's March.
Oh,
I
shit.
said, yeah, but it's still fucking cold, Rick. I mean, come on. He goes, I know. He goes, give me a couple of days, you know. So then finally at the end of the week, I call him up. I go, Rick, what the fuck, man? Come on. Tell me, what's the story? He goes, there was a letter. What kind of letter?
A letter?
A termination letter. I said, what the fuck you tell me that fucking Monday? That's Friday. You got to tell me I got a termination letter now? What the fuck? He goes, I know. I said, why am I terminated? Well, he goes, the podcast, you know. I said, oh, my God. You know what I mean? So
That fucking sucks.
I got fired. So I told Dave, I called him. I said, see, Dave, see what I do for you? I got fired from a job because of you with this fucking podcast. I'm doing it 15 years. I said, you get me all kinds of trouble.
That's funny.
So
Fucking
what was the question? The
Frank Zeppi story you're gonna tell us.
Oh yeah,
It's tattoo story.
Yeah,
Tattoo.
we were in San Francisco, me and Frank, right? And me and Frank always hung out. We used to go to the bodybuilding, you know, the convention hall during the day. Very rarely we went to the bodybuilding show. I mean, sometimes Frank had to do it because once he started like judging shit with Steve Weinberger,
Yeah,
he had to do it, you know. So I understood, but a lot of times with Metrics, he didn't go. We used to go out and hang out in the bars and stuff, you know, Vegas and down in New Orleans. You know, me and Frank did a lot of hanging out, right? Anyway, make a long story short, Frank says, let's go to this. There's a tattoo convention over here. We were in San Francisco. Okay, it was Cow Harbor, some bullshit. I don't know what it was. So we take a cab. We go to it was the daytime. You know, we go to the convention and we're walking through this giant place. There's all different tattoo artists here and there, you know, and all of a sudden we're starting to see like, you know, like gangs and stuff, you know, hanging out. And, you know, then one guy was selling snuff films. And I'm like, what the fuck is a snuff film?
oh shit.
They killed the bitch in the fucking movie. There was like, I was like, this place is, I said, Frank, we got to get the fuck out of here, right? So now it starts getting dark. So we go at it. We leave the convention hall. We didn't even want to be there anymore because we could see it was all gangs and shit. It wasn't your normal tattoo convention place, right? So we wanted to get out of it. We're scared. So we go out on the street and we're trying to hail a cab down. It's night now. There's no cabs, right? So every time a car passed, me and Frank would hide behind a bush. Oh, fuck us. There were two white guys over there. You know, we were afraid of like getting like a drive-by or something. You know, kill these two white motherfuckers, whatever. So anyway, I called my girlfriend back in New York. I said, Denise, you gotta fucking get us a cab. We're stuck out here. It's 10 at night. There's no cabs around. So she started making phone calls. She called me back. She goes, no cabs want to go there. I said, they don't want to come here. I said, you gotta get us out of here. So finally, she found a cab guy that would actually come there. The fucking cabs wouldn't even go there. So
Wow.
the guy picks us up. We get in the car, and he was gay, the guy, you know, in San Francisco. So I'm in the back seat.
I was
right?
waiting for that.
Yeah. So I'm in the back seat. Me and Frank are like, thank God we're out of here, you know. And I said something. I don't know what the fuck I said. Something about the neighborhood. And the guy got a little snippy with me because I said something about his neighborhood, right? So I said, who's talking to you? You fucking faggot. You fag fuck, right?
Shit.
The guy stopped the car. He tells, get the fuck out, right?
My God.
We get out of the cab, right? And the guy takes off. He leaves us in the fucking neighborhood, right? So Frank starts walking up down the sidewalk like he was speed walking. I go, Frank, where you going? He was so mad at me. He just kept walking, like, you know, and I'm trying to like run to keep up with him. You know, Frankie's tall. He's got that stride. You know,
Yeah, he's tall. Yeah.
I'm trying to keep up with him. He's like, he wouldn't talk to me. He was so fucking mad at me. You know, but we finally got out of there, you know, but he was mad. You know?
He's a good-looking guy. They would have loved him over there.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy.
We tried to go see Alcatraz. You know, there's a tour like
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
like a 4 o'clock. There's a tour to go see Alcatraz.
Oh
And
shit, yeah.
we missed it like 2 or 3 times because we was out partying, and then we got there late. And that was the tour. We missed the tour. You know, I wanted to see Alcatraz. I thought that would have been cool, but
Yeah, you're lucky you'd have been stuck on Alcatraz. You'd have been stuck over there. But your luck.
yeah, my luck. The boat would have left, and me and Frank would have slept there overnight. Yeah, exactly. That's what would have happened. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that
At
was
290 says Jimmy's rant when he ran over the guy's bike was fucking hysterical. I'll never forget it.
Oh, when I went. Yeah, I felt so bad, man. Thank God the guy wasn't around. But I was actually going to tell him that I ran over his bike, but I couldn't find the guy. You know, they was on a farm, and I was making a U-turn. I had my boss's ex truck there, piece of shit, couldn't make a full turn, and the radius sucked in the truck, and I was trying to get out of where I was, and I turned the wheel, and I heard some noise and shit. I backed up the truck. It was the poor Spanish guy. He had it all nice and chained up with another bike. I ran him over, crushed him and shit. So I took
That's
the bike.
funny.
I had to get rid of the evidence. I took the bike. I threw it in the fucking woods. You know what I mean? I felt bad. I really, if I saw the guy, I would apologize to him. I would have offered him money for the bike. I probably stole the fucking thing anyway. But anyway, I felt terrible that I ran over his fucking bike. You know what I mean? Yeah, I remember that day. That was funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, you drive all over the place, like in dark places where like they're bears, right? There's like bears and all kinds of shit when you drive.
Yeah, upstate New York.
Dude, there's bear here where I fucking live. That's fucking crazy, man.
You got bear over there too?
Here once in a while to come out of my daughter was sitting on the side of the road fucking, and all of a sudden she pops out a fucking camera. I'm like, dude, you're lucky your fucking your car wasn't like broken down. The bear came right up to the car. They were sitting there and you know, they were just like smoking and shit. I right up here on the fucking highway right here, and a fucking giant
the black bear,
but she fucking you know she videotaped it like this, you know, and I'm like holy, and it fucking thing was big. My friend who owns the gym, you know, he lives a little bit in the woods over here, and he was like, dude, you know, because he has.
You got a nice neighborhood where you live over there. I don't see where.
Well, yeah, like right up the street, there's woods though. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know. My neighborhood's nice, but still, there was supposed to be a bear up here. I'm saying it. My friend goes outside his house. He has like he puts bird shit for birds, you know, like bird feeders.
Yeah.
And right by fucking giant black bear walks right by his front door. You know what I mean? It grips down the bird feeder and then walks away with it. You know, they're bad.
Because of the food. That's why, you know.
That's what it's Jimmy. I never saw like a coyote in my life or any of that shit. Now all of a sudden I see him on the side of the road up here on the Taconic and shit. You know, sitting on the side of the road watching the cars. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
we got stuck with the trucks a couple weeks ago up there, and it was on a farm, and it was this dirt road. It wasn't dirt; it was snow because it was snowing up there. So these trucks suck in the snow. You know what I mean? So we're going down this dirt road. The road was no wider than the car, and it was up in the mountains. So there was woods on that side, and just this snowy little road. And my friend Chris, it was a hill, so it came down like this, and then it went up again, and then it leveled off, and you head to the farm, right? But you got to really hit the gas down that little hill and then up the other one, because if you stop on that hill or slow down, the wheels will spin. You never make it up the hill. I was loaded too, so make a long story short, he made it, and then he gets me on the mic. He goes, "All right, come on in," you know. So I started going down that road, and I kept it in automatic. I have an automatic. I don't have a stick. But you could press a button and put it in manual. It'll stay in gear, right? So you could do either way. I left it in automatic. I totally forgot. So I come down the hill and I step on the gas to make it up that hill. This is 2:30 in the morning, bro. It was like 17 degrees out. So I go up the hill, and all of a sudden the truck's just going. And I'm starting to go backwards. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
I said, he's going to kill me. And now I'm trying to get up. It was impossible. It was dead. And now the truck starts going like this, Greg, going like this.
Oh,
and
fuck.
I'm going down the hill, and I'm starting to go into a fucking ditch, and I'm praying to God. I'm saying, oh, please don't let me go in this ditch, you know, because I'm fucked if I go in this ditch. You know, so finally the truck just stopped, you know. So I radio Chris. I said, Chris. He goes, yeah, what's up? I said, I'm stuck. Don't tell me you're stuck. He was lost his shit, right? I said, I'm stuck. I don't know what to tell you. So anyway, he had to walk there. He left his truck there, which was like a good, probably an eighth of a mile up the road. You know, he walked all the way down, and we had to go climb on the top of the truck. We had to dig the millings out of the top of the truck and then throw it on the ground. I had to throw it under the fucking tires up the road. Bro, 4 hours. So we finally called the farmer because we didn't want to call him. I didn't want to call a wrecker. My boss would have killed us if a wrecker came there. I don't even think a wrecker could get in there and get us. So
Wow.
So we called the farmer. He wasn't happy. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. He comes there with his little fucking tractor. I could tell he was pissed off, you know, because we woke him up. We told him we're stuck, you know. I really wanted to tell the guy, look, you fucking asshole, you plowed the road. How about throwing some sand or something on the motherfucker? We're coming here with tractor trailers. I mean, I'm not coming here with a doom buggy. How about throwing something on the fucking road, man? You know? So, you know, naturally, he didn't. He just fucking plowed it. And so what happens is when one truck goes over it, it compresses the snow and turns it to ice, right, on that track, right? So that's what happened to me. When I went up the hill, I was in his tracks, and my wheels just spinning out. And so anyway, he finally came with his little fucking tractor. And Chris came down nose first. We tried to chain the trucks up together that way, you know, and then he got stuck. So then we unhooked the chains, and the farmer came, hooked up the back of him, and pull his truck out. Then Chris backed down his truck to my truck. We hooked the chain up to his axle in front of my truck, and the tractor got in front. All 3 of us, bro, to get me out of this fucking hole.
Wow, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so we finally get out of there. That was like 2 hours, two and a half hours worth of that shit, right? So the farmer finally leaves. I said, "Thank you, take care." You know. So we go down to the farm. Now, when you get to the farm, you had a bed to the right, and then back up this other little hill to go down. He wanted the fucking
holy shit.
Yeah. So what happens? We go up the road, make the right, and we start. You got to punch it out, back up on a turn, and go up the hill. And what happens? The truck's going stuck again. So now we had to dump some of the millings out. We had to dig it out, throw it up the road under the wheel. Another 2 hours. I said to Chris, I said, I don't get a fucking heart attack tonight. I'm never getting a heart attack because this is 3, 4, and when the sun started coming up, Greg, we were digging for hours, right? I'm like, I'm gonna fucking die up here, you know what I mean? But
you're lucky a bear didn't come out of the woods. Then you guys would have had to stay up on top.
So that's the other thing. So what happened was when my truck was stuck in the beginning before the farmer came, you know, if you leave your truck idling, it'll shut down. You have to put the cruise control on. You got to knock up the idle, and otherwise the truck shuts off after about 10, 15 minutes, right?
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it automatically shuts off. So we were at my truck, and Chris says to me, listen, do me a favor, man. Go up to my truck and step the idle up. It's going to stall. And then with all the lights on and everything, it's going to kill the battery with the coal. We're never going to get out of here. I said, all right. So I had to walk down this fucking road, Greg, right?
Oh, boy.
There was nothing around. Woods over there. I'm walking there, and I'm saying to myself, I had to walk a long way, too. I don't even know how the fuck I did it. I can't walk from my car to the supermarket. I don't know how the fuck I made it all the way down that road. I think it was fear, you know, because I'm saying to myself, this is the perfect time now that some fucking brown bear come running out of the woods.
Or a bunch of coyotes and shit. You know what I mean?
Drag me back to their den and have a nice fucking breakfast. I said, this is how I'm gonna go now after all these fucking years, you know. So I finally make it to his truck. And I put the idle up, and thank God he had a long handle flat shovel. I took it off his back of his truck, and I put it over my shoulder. And I walked. I said, "At least I got a shovel. You know, if this motherfucker shows up, at least I could beat him on the head with a shovel."
Smack the fucking head.
I don't know if it'll help, but at least I felt a little better with the shovel. You know what I mean? But
you stand a chance.
Yeah, it's some kind of a chance. Hopefully, you know. But anyway,
that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, it was scary. I tell you, I was very nervous walking across that field, man.
Well, you know what's funny? On farms and shit, especially if there's animals and all that shit there, they like wild animals smell that shit. They sense and they like, you know, guys that have chickens and livestock, there's fucking coyotes are always floating around over that.
Oh, you don't think they could smell me? I was half dead. I was out of breath. They probably smelled death coming off me. They said, this guy's gonna drop any minute. We got to get over there. Get him while he's fresh. You know what I mean?
This picture you walking up that road, son of a bitch. How the fuck
I was cursing the whole way, guys. I was breathing like this fucking fuck with his idol. You know what I mean? Yeah,
son of a bitch.
Fuck his idol. You know what I mean?
That's fucking crazy, man. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap up now. You know, it's been 2 hours already. Almost 2 hours.
It goes fast, yeah, man.
About fast, man. 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it got a long time.
Everyone goes fast because we have a good time. That's why.
We have a good time. We had over 80, 90 people in here in chat with all these questions and everything. But, you know, Jimmy, I will talk to you actually shortly, probably soon, and we'll get some stuff ready. Greg, I love you, brother. You know,
I love you guys.
Joe, before you go, what's this list guy saying here? Tell Jimmy
Tell Jimmy to tell the story
when he went to sign up at a gym. and the guy had to read him
the rules.
Yeah, tell us the story. Go ahead.
That was at LA Fitness, yeah.
LA Fitness, what happened there?
It was a little fucking 90-pound guy behind the counter, you know. I go to sign in with my friend John Mastrian. I was gonna, get on his membership, kind of joint thing, and so John gave him the credit card and put my name on the thing, and I'm getting ready to walk away. He goes, "Excuse me." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I gotta read." He's got this piece of paper because I gotta read you the rules and regulations. I said, "Rules and regulations."
Rules and regulations.
I said, "Like what?" He goes, "Well, first of all, because you got street clothes on. We don't allow people to work here with street clothes." I says, "Well, this is what I got on. I'm not wearing fucking shorts or sneakers, bro. This is what I'm wearing, right?" You know what I mean? So then he started reading the rest of it to me, and I'm like, you know what? I'll catch me on the way out. I said, I'll listen to the rest of it later. I just went to the gym, started training. Fuck him.
That's great.
That's fucking crazy, man.
He was all irate. The guy was all pissed off. You could see he was turning red and shit. I was like, you know what? Stick those rules up your ass. I'm probably not even going to be here that long. You know what I mean? Which I don't. My friend goes down every time he goes to fly. I don't go to that fucking gym. I can't stand LA Fitness, man.
Yeah, I would never go to. Fuck that.
Didn't he say no steroids too? Don't sell steroids or something like that?
Oh yeah, right. He did. Yeah, so I did tell that story.
I think I remember something you saying.
Yeah. He said no steroids or some shit.
Yeah, they don't like bodybuilders and shit.
I was like, no steroids. What the fuck are you talking about? No steroids.
Some of those gyms only have dumbbells up to like 60 pounds and shit, Because they don't want you standing there swinging weights. You drop the weights down. They're like, holy shit. You're like, well, what do you want me to do? It's a fucking gym.
Yeah, I think this gym's got 70s. That's like the max.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys in the chat.
Right.
We love you guys, John.
Thank you guys.
Jimmy,
I love you
guys.
I love you. I'll see you
guys. I love you guys. You got it, bud. Thanks again,
I'll
brother.
talk to you tomorrow.
You guys call me tomorrow, Jimmy.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. Jay-Z pumping iron. Body builder coding. Beans on the court.